Hello, 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 my friends. Welcome to Hidden Laws of Attraction. How to reprogram your subconscious mind for success, health, wealth, and happiness. I'm your host for the next 180 minutes or so, Dr. David Snyder. I see a lot of people in the chat. It's so exciting to be back. We took a little bit of a hiatus. We had a lot of live trainings that we had to do. As you know, when COVID shut everybody else down, we leaned into it and said, you know what, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep going out there. We're going to get in front of people and we're going to show them how to transform their lives. And that's exactly what we did. And people have been sending me their success stories and their oh my God moments every day since we started doing that. We just finished a 7-day deep dive into the wonderful world of David and the vibrational influence curriculum, which part of this is taken from in Costa Rica. We did a 7-day deep dive and we showed things that have never seen the light of day. So I just want to share some things with you really, really quickly. You can't hear me in Zoom. Does anybody else in Zoom not hear me, or is Ivy the only one who cannot hear me? Okay, people are telling me, Ivy, it must be on your end because it seems like everybody else can hear you very, very well. It might be useful for you to log out and log back in. Okay, and see where that takes you. All right, so a lot of us I've heard of this thing called the law of attraction, and I've been practicing the law of attraction since before it was actually called the law of attraction, back when it was actually called magic or manifestation or things like that in nature. So let me just go ahead and do my administrative stuff really, really quickly. If this is your first of all, like I said before, if politically incorrect language, colorful metaphors, swearing, or the word boobies offends you, probably not the best use of your next 3 hours, right? If this is your first time with us, what I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to type your name, where you're checking in from, and I'm going to ask this multiple times throughout the course of the webinar. What do you want to take away from today? What is the thing that if you got nothing else from this webinar, would say this was completely worth the time it took to do what David says and spend 3 hours on this? What would that be for you, right? And I want you to go ahead and type that in the chat, okay? Now, if you're a veteran of Planet David, if you've been bebopping around the Planet David 3, 6, 8 months, a year, 10 years, some of us have been with me for 12 years, some of us have been with 3, 4 years, and you've been around, you've been to some of the live events, and you've used our material, I want you to go ahead and type your name, how long you've been in Planet David, so that we know who you are and that we can recognize you. Now, the reason I'm doing this, besides the recognition part, is because, like I said before, as we go through this content, and by the way, none of the content in the following presentation that we're going to go through requires belief. Now, that's going to fly in the face of what a lot of people who study the law of attraction or teach the law of attraction are preaching out there. We've taken a lot of time at Planet David to distill these things down to principles and mechanics. And if you follow the mechanical principles, then we're going to show you, then these things will have a high probability of working very, very quickly for you. Now, we're going to teach you why the law of attraction does and doesn't work, why there's a lot of misinformation about that, and how you can begin to clear up that crap in your life right away. But just, if this is the scope of everything there is to learn in this study, even in a 3-hour webinar, I have time to take to give you this much. So here's my commitment to you tonight and for as long as you're in Planet David, whether it's just for tonight or for the rest of your life or some points in between. Tonight, I will take you as far as I can in the time that we have. I will teach you as much as you can absorb and practice, and I will point you in the direction of where to go for more if that's the course you want to take. If you really are committed to upgrading your life and becoming the best version of yourself, I will show you what to do next. Is that a fair trade? If you think that's fair, go ahead and type that in the chat for me. This is a very interactive webinar, by the way. This is one of the things that I think makes a learning experience so profound. The more you do these drills, the more you get active, the more you take part in this process, the more rapidly you'll discover these things unfolding, and you'll uncover the own magic inside of your nervous system and inside of your neurology. I've been quoted as saying many times, human beings are magic incarnate. And tonight, with your help and a little bit of patience, you're going to experience that magic firsthand. Okay? Because again, nothing is more convincing than an experience, and that's my job, to give you the experience. Okay? So let's see. I've done my profanity And by the way, just for you know, I have a very my intention is never to offend anyone, period. Okay, but my style of presentation can often be very provocative. So if something I say causes a really sudden emotional response in you, and you don't know where it came from, that's a sign from your neurology that there's something there that needs to be explored using some of the techniques that we're going to be sharing with you, because we're going to tell you how to clear some serious shit out of your neurology really quick to open a path for greater and greater manifestations. So tonight, if you are ready, let's jump in. Now, let me close the loop on my veterans. Like I said before, if you ask a question and I don't get to the answer, or it doesn't fit in the flow of the webinar, it's going to take us down a rabbit hole we don't need to go. I ask my veterans, the people who've been around Planet David for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, a year, however long, who has experience with these materials, with the the question that you're asking. Please go ahead and answer that, right? Because you expect me, to say my stuff's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I get that, but people won't keep coming back year after year after year if they're not getting some kind of value, some kind of result from what we're doing. So I don't ask you to believe anything that you're going to learn over the next 3 hours. All I ask you to do is do it and experience for yourself, and then make your decision to upgrade or not, right? If it works for you, use it. If it doesn't work, find something that does, right? If you can get results faster than I do, I'm coming to your seminar, okay? So that being said, we do have 2 streams that we're streaming to. We're streaming to our YouTube channel. Our YouTube brothers and sisters are out there. They get a little bit of a delay in the video feed, but their questions are in real time. So if, again, we have people in the chats on YouTube, we have people manning the chats here in Zoom, and we have we have a position in Planet David called Whack-a-Troll. And so if you catch you behaving badly, there's a zero tolerance policy. We'll just move you to timeout, and then we'll move you out permanently, right? So again, we don't usually have those kinds of problems, but every now and then someone comes in and tries to, ruin the experience for everybody, and we have people in place to handle that. So that being said, is this the right place? For those of you who are brand new to Planet David, one of the big questions that people often ask, let me go ahead and share my screen here really quick, is who the heck is David Snyder and why should I care? First and foremost, I am an actual doctor of Chinese acupuncture and Oriental medicine. This is a copy of my diploma from Pacific College of Oriental Medicine. I've been a practicing acupuncturist with a clinic here in Solana Beach, California, since about 2005, where my specialty is treating physiological illness that is due to repressed emotions. And so in addition to that, I'm also a neurolinguistic programmer and a very highly qualified hypnotherapist and energy healer. And we use the combination of all these modalities in a multidisciplinary integrative approach to help people get over terminal cancer, chronic pain, all forms of trauma, PTSD, pretty much the full spectrum of emotionally induced illness, which, as you'll discover as you get deeper and deeper into these studies, is pretty much everything. Short of getting hit by a truck, pretty much any chronic illness that's going into a doctor's office has some kind of emotional, memory-based root that is treatable through the kind of interventions that we're talking about. So you know, in 2020, I was named the #1 NLP trainer of the year by globalgurus.org. I've been in the top 2 for the last 6 or 7 years, so we come pretty highly rated. This is kind of cool. Some of the techniques that we'll be talking about today are from a course I created back in 2006 called Killer Influence. This is a letter from globalgurus.org saying that, Dear Dr. David, it is with pleasure to announce that your course, oops, let me fix that for you really quick. Killer Influence, your training program, Killer Influence, has been chosen by global peers and ranked as the #1 best program in the world for NLP of 2022. You can see it here. And of course, if you click on that page, you'll find the Global Gurus page where you can see our course, Killer Influence, as the #1 NLP training program several years in a row, actually. This was a very pleasant surprise because I don't know how they actually rank these things. I have a 10th degree black belt in Ryukyu Kempo, 4th degree black belt in Shaolin Kun Tao, 2nd degree black belt in Kosho Kempo-ryu, 1st degree black belt in Fankuru Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a certified instructor in Combat Sistema, Single Mano Eskrima, and Modern Arnis. And I like to make a joke. I have more energy healing credentials than McDonald's sells hamburgers. I've been a Reiki master since before Reiki was cool. I have certifications in advanced pranic healing and in pranic psychotherapy. I'm trained in advanced DNA theta healing. thanks to energy healing, and I have many, many different systems of Qigong in my background, as well as being a Hermetics practitioner. Now, when I go through this laundry list, inevitably people ask me, so what? What do all, why should I care about all this stuff? What all these things have in common? And this is, again, where things start to come together for you. All these things have in common two aspects. Control of your vibrational state, which is we understand the law of attraction to be, is controlling your vibrational state, but also something even potentially more important, if that's possible, and that's pattern recognition. The ability to identify patterns of energy, patterns of thought, patterns of belief, patterns of movement, patterns of speech. All of these things are implicit within a human being, and if you understand how to perceive them, then human beings become very, very predictable. The universe itself actually becomes a lot more predictable and malleable to your intentions and your will. So everything in my life has prepared me to learn about understanding and perceiving patterns. And so when people ask me what all these things have to do with success, health, wealth, and happiness, pretty much everything. Pretty much everything. Okay? So are you in the right place? Well, I don't believe I believe there are no accidents. I believe in a world that is so fundamentally interconnected that it gives the illusion of being random. So let's take some of that randomness out of your manifestation and out of your life. If you're ready, you can just type "that's me" in the chat. If you're ready to remove the blocks to success, to get over limiting beliefs, to attract the love, health, wealth, success, and more opportunities into your life without adding more to your everyday workload, go ahead and type "that's for me" in the chat. If you're ready to take your life to the next level and become the best version of yourself, go ahead and type "that's for me" in the chat. Okay? But there's more, right? Would you like, and again, if any of these resonate with you, just go ahead and type "that's for me" in the chat. Okay? The more I know about what you want, the more I can target the content of this webinar to getting you there. So if you'd like to become super attractive to the opposite sex, maybe even make them find you charming and fascinating and irresistible, go ahead and type "that's for me" in the chat. If you'd like to banish fear and insecurity from your life and radiate more confidence and assertiveness everywhere you go, go ahead and type "that's for me" in the chat. If you'd like to make more money from your job, book more clients, build your business, get that raise or promotion that you deserve, go ahead and type that in the chat. If you'd like to have people thinking, feeling, and acting the way you want them to, without feeling like you're manipulating or coercing or lying or deceiving people, go ahead and type that in the chat. Right? If you'd like to be able to inspire your children, your spouses, your employees, your team members to eagerly follow your lead, you're going to find some really powerful techniques in today's webinar that are going to give you an ethical but almost unfair advantage in every aspect of your life, because you're going to learn very, very quickly how your nervous system works, how it interacts with the microcosm we call the universe, and how these two are constantly intercommunicating to generate the phenomena and the interactions you have with other people. Human beings are little, small micro-universes in and of themselves that reflect what's going on outside of us. And once we understand the dynamics of that system and how it works, we can start to program our own minds, our own bodies, to be more effective out in the real world without working harder, right? If you'd like to be able to surround yourself with a tribe of trustworthy and loyal friends who mirror your values, who reflect and approve of the way you live your life, go ahead and type that in the chat. That's what we're all about here at Planet David, okay? So here's my promise to you. If you stay until the end of the webinar tonight, I'm going to teach you the fastest, most powerful, direct way to reprogram your mind, magnetize yourself for unlimited success, health, wealth, and happiness using the real laws of attraction. And I say the real laws of attraction because one of the biggest challenges that we run into as students of this particular practice is that the law of attraction isn't one law. They can be summed up in the classic like attracts like. You bring things in harmony with your dominant thoughts. But it's actually 7 laws that interact with another 7 laws that govern your mind. And if you don't understand the dynamics of these and how they play into your manifestation, you can often shoot yourself in the foot even if you have the best of intentions. So we're going to cover as much as, like I said, we're going to cover as much of that as we can in the time that we have. between now and the end of the webinar. We're also going to show you systematically how to use your mind and body together to change your vibration to match what it is you want to attract, how to program it into your future. We're going to show you how to remove the blocks to your success, that some of which you didn't even know you had. Right? We're going to teach you very, very simply how to figure out what are your dominant thoughts and what aren't. Because many times what screws us up isn't the fact that we actually don't know what our dominant thoughts are. That's one of the big secrets, right? I'll show you how to figure that out, right? How to get rid of negative emotions, fear, pain, limiting beliefs, and more. So at the end of the day, I'm going to share with you the exact steps to go from interesting information to maximum powerful manifestation in the shortest amount of time possible. So if that sounds like you're ready to go, let's jump in. Go ahead and type in the chat if you're ready to go with that. Okay, I'm going to share my screen once again. Some of the material that we are going to share with you, this is my vibrational alchemy chart. This is known in my beginners classes as the Identity by Design silo. And this is a systematic approach, 7 stages of unique personal transformation that teaches you how to systematically cleanse your mind and body from the negativity you didn't even know you had, how to remove secondary gain and limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck or keeping you from moving forward, how to install the default driver states, the positive vibrational frequencies and success attributes that lead to success, how to change the internal voice in your brain and in your mind so that it actually builds you up and motivates you and inspires you and tells you all the reasons why you deserve something instead of all the reasons why you don't. How to systematically, this is called temporal editing, how to systematically sanitize the negative events and memories from your past so that they have no energy, so that when you look back on the past, you only remember it in ways that make your life better. Then what we do, let me get my annotation out here really quickly. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take this again in the silo. We're not going to be able to do all this today, obviously. We take all this and we install it before your very first memory as an infant, so it becomes a template and reprograms your DNA. If you guys are familiar with any of the work by Dr. Bruce Lipton on epigenetics, this is an epigenetic intervention where we literally install this stuff before your very first memory. Once that's done, we teach our students how to take the qualities, traits, characteristics, and attributes of their heroes, of people they want to be most like, and build them into their own personality, into their own neurology, so that they can express those traits powerfully as well. This is called the Identity by Design silo. Each and every piece of this is simultaneously a hypnotic process, a meditative process, and an energetic vibrational process. Now, obviously, we don't have time to go through every single piece, but I will show you how to get access to all of that as we proceed. I'm going to drill down on 1 or 2 aspects of this, and I'm going to make sure that by the time you leave the webinar today, you can do about some of the things that we're going to talk about. Does this sound useful or interesting? Go ahead and tell me what you think. Let me go ahead and stop sharing for here. For some reason I can't find my, that's not what I want. Okay, let me see where we're at. Let me look at that. We've got a lot of comments going on. Guys, you guys are blowing up my chat box. Very cool. All right, so let's start with some very strong basics. First of all, when we talk about the law of attraction, I'm going to shift my screen again. There's several areas that we can cover. We can cover the laws themselves. We can talk about why is the law of attraction not working for us. One of the reasons is that the way most of us have been exposed to the law of attraction is, and correct me if I'm wrong, and if you've had a slightly different experience, that's okay. Most of us are taught that you will attract into your life the situations, circumstances, and events that are in harmony with your dominant thoughts. And that sounds like, okay, if I just control, okay, Bidology says I feel too tired to manifest, I'm burnout. Okay, that's usually a self-defense mechanism, by the way. I'll show you how to get around that. One of the problems that we have is you have to understand that there are 7 laws that make up the hermetic principles that the universe works by. Okay, Chris is asking, I need to raise my vibrational energy. That's great. What does that actually mean? And this is the problem that we have. Here's the first powerful technique I want to share with you. How many of you by a show of that's me in the chat, would like to be 30% better at everything? Cross-contextually. How many of you? Just raise your hands or say that's me, whatever. Right? Here's what you have to do. Okay? All you gotta do is be playful. Have as much fun, be as curious as humanly possible, and you will automatically raise your vibration. Now, that's the science. That particular statistic comes from a field of very easygoing, fun-loving people called hostage negotiators. Right? If you've ever been to a hostage negotiation or seen the job hostage negotiators have to do, it's really light and airy, isn't it? No, it isn't. Right? What that means is, what the science shows us, if the hostage negotiator themselves goes into the negotiation with more easygoing, relaxed, playful, explorational, let's see what happens kind of an energy, he is up to 30%, 31% more perceptive. He is 31% more adaptable, 31% smarter, 30% more resourceful, and persuasive. And what's interesting is, and this is where we start to see that vibrational bridging effect between us and other human beings. The hostage, his counterpart, the hostage taker, is up to 30%, 31% more compliant. Would it be useful to have people in your life 31%, almost one third of the time, more compliant and open and amenable to what you want them to do? Would that be useful? Okay, here's the secret. All you got to do is be playful, right? So, but how does that work? I mean, and again, I'm giving you this very important piece first because I need you to understand that this isn't just some metaphysical mumbo jumbo. This shit's been proven over and over and over again. I don't know about Loki energy being exactly the energy I'd go for, but Maui's the same energy, but being happy-go-lucky, playful. And now I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I want you to answer these for in the chat. We all know that higher vibrations, again, getting into the law of attraction, right? Higher vibrations control lower vibrations. That's just the law of physics, isn't it? True or not true? Okay. So, let's think about this for a moment. Which energy has a higher vibration? Seriousness or playfulness? Right? Which energy has a higher vibration? Hate or love? Which energies are higher? Envy, selfishness, or gratitude? Okay, so here's the thing. How many of you have ever done affirmations? Show of hands. How many of you have ever done affirmations? All right, now be honest, right? How many of you almost never do affirmations until you're in a shitty mood and then want to use the affirmations to get out of it? Anybody? You ever wonder what I see a lot of hands out there, right? This is why a lot of times your manifestations don't work, your affirmations don't work. You're in the wrong state. Remember I said there are two things that all my life experience had in common: vibrational state control and pattern recognition. So one of the things, this is the second big piece for you. If you want to do manifestation work, you got to change your state first. Right? If you want to manifest, a 7-figure business, or you want to manifest the perfect love of your life, or you want to manifest the perfect employee, and you're angry, or you're frustrated because the person you're with isn't it, guess what you got to do first? What do you have to do first? Come on, it's not a trick question. You got to change your state. How do you do that? I'm glad you asked. Would you guys like to know how to change your state in an instant and then build on that? Would that be useful? Come on, let me see. All right. So, here's what we're going to do first. How many of you can be playful for no friggin' reason? Anybody? If you can, it's okay. Okay. How many of you would like to be able to generate intense feelings of pleasure on demand. Would that be cool? Okay. Both are more useful for manifesting than any other states. Pleasure and play. Right? So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to learn how to control our state. Would that be okay? Okay, very cool. So, now we're going to do a couple of closed eye processes together. If you're driving, please do not do this exercise, right? If you really want to experience the process, then pull off to the side of the road, put the car in park, turn off the key, take it out of the ignition so accidents don't happen, put the emergency brake on, and make sure that people aren't going to bang on your door, and you can follow along. Otherwise, stay on to the end of the webinar, come back for the replay, go through the process when it's safe for you to do so. So here's the first thing you need to understand. If we want to start to access the law of attraction, we need to change our states first. Before we do anything else, we need to get into a positive vibrational state. Now, that screws people up a lot because they don't actually know what they're talking about. That's why I started talking about emotions. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you something that's a little heady here, but I want you to understand this. Vibrationally speaking, the way we calibrate frequency in this realm is through our body feelings. Body feelings, right? And so we can program the entire universe by understanding the language of feeling. Now, you have two kinds of feelings that move through the system, your body. You have emotions and you have sensations. All sensations are feelings, but not all. All feelings are emotions, but not all feelings are. All emotions are feelings, but not all feelings are emotions. And again, we talk a lot more about this in Identity by Design. We talk about it in Vibrational Healing and Vibrational Influence. We can talk about what that actually means on a theoretical level as well as a practical level later. But right now, what we need to understand is that if you want to get into a state that is harmonious to manifesting, you need to start with body feelings. Now, the two fastest ways to change your body feelings is to change your posture and to change your breathing. Okay, in our systems, we actually devote almost 2 days in some cases to just this aspect because it is the real Jedi skill. When you can do this, 80% of your manifestation is done. Okay, but most of us don't. We don't understand the system, we don't understand the dynamics, and so sometimes we get what we want, sometimes we don't. But the fastest way to change your posture or change your feelings is by changing your posture and your breathing. Your physiology literally controls your psychology. Okay, are you guys with me so far? I want to make sure I'm not going too fast, but I want to get you through the process as quickly as I can so that we can move into some other things. Okay, so we're going to start with state control first, right? And we're going to use a process we know as color breathing. So I want everybody to just stop for a moment. And actually, I want you guys to, if you can, if it's safe to do it, I want you to go ahead and stand up, if you can do that. Okay, go ahead and stand up. I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. And I want you to do something with your mind for me. I want you to think about a time. I'll give you a choice. You pick which one you want. A time when you were absolutely victorious. A time when you saw something you wanted. And on a scale of 0 to 10, it was like a lust factor of 27. And you decided in that moment, you were going to do whatever it takes. You were going to get whatever you needed to get or take whatever steps you needed to take to achieve this goal, right? And you put that plan into operation. No matter what happened, you worked that plan and you nailed it. Boom. Home run, touchdown, win, all the way around. I want you to remember that moment of victory. That moment of achievement, of being an absolute winner. And most importantly, I want you to remember what you were seeing in that moment. What were you hearing? What were you smelling? What were you tasting? And when you do that, when you see what you see and you hear what you hear and you smell and you taste what you smell and you taste, there is an amazing, wonderful, absolutely amazing feeling that you get that lets you know you're a complete winner. And I'd like you to notice something. I want you to stand the way you were standing in that moment. I want you to breathe the way you were breathing. And I'd like you to become aware there's a place in your body where those amazing feelings start, where they grow and where they spread from. Take a moment and point to where you feel it. That's perfect. As you point, now if you don't find one, pretend you can and just do that. Point to where you feel it. Close your eyes. Look at that spot with your inner eyes. Notice there's a color. Maybe even a series of colors connected to those amazing feelings. What color or colors might that be for you? First impression. Now you don't need to type this in the chat, just know what it is for you. When you've got those colors, I want you to imagine a brilliant ball of that energy floating above your head. Notice how the feelings in your body shift and changes with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. That amazing ball of energy begins to grow, begins to expand, begins to fill the entire room from floor to ceiling, from wall to wall, and all points in between. Notice how it wraps itself around you like an amazing blanket of triumph, of victory, of winterness, a cocoon, a shield, a suit of armor, insulating you, protecting you from all defeats, all loss, real or imagined, while at the same time flooding your mind, flooding your body, flooding your spirit with everything it most wants, everything it most needs in an infinite, ever-expanding, and unlimited supply. And when you know you've got that, breathe those amazing colors through your entire being. Let it fill you up like water fills up a bottle, like fluid fills up a test tube, like hot air or helium fills up a balloon. Anchor it in so fully, so completely, no force in the universe can turn it off or take it away, not even you. And when you know you've got it locked in, you're certain of it, test it. Try to turn it off, try to make it go away, and notice what happens instead. When you're satisfied, type what you noticed when you try to turn that off. Wouldn't turn off, feels powerful. Oh, how about that? You think this might be, it gets bigger, it laughs at me. I started to dance a little bit, very good. Can't turn it off? Well, doesn't that suck? You mean you're stuck feeling good now? Well, shit, right? Can't stop smiling. Perfect. You think this might be a better state to do law of attraction work in? Think you might be a little bit more conductive to the universe right now for things that make you winners? Heck yeah, right? All right. Now, some of you, and again, it was the majority, but this happens every now and then. You have something unexpected come up. That's okay. In part 3 of the webinar, we're going to show you how to clear that shit up, right? Felt so happy and scared at the same time. That's perfectly okay. You're working with aspects of your system that are largely left on autopilot. Okay? There is nothing in you that you haven't already beaten, even if you don't realize it. The very fact that you're on this webinar, and you all, and everybody this is relevant to, you know who I'm talking to. There is nothing inside of you. You are not broken. There is nothing inside of you that you haven't already beaten. There's just a part of you that doesn't realize it yet. Okay? Every single thing, you are the way you are, not because of the things that happened to you. You are the way you are because of the way you've recorded the things that happened to you and the way you've been relating to those recordings. But that's another class for another day, or part 3 of tonight's webinar. We'll show you how to clear that shit up. Some of you may have noticed that when you started bringing up these amazing feelings, you had these little these naggy little icky feelings in the background, right? Remember where they were, because in part 3 we're going to show you how to get rid of them. Okay? So let's I look so magical. My lower half keeps this. It's this screensaver. I'm afraid to kind of move closer because I don't know if my head will disappear. All right. So the first thing that has to happen is we got to control our state. Now, what I gave you is what we call, it's the first level of 7 degrees of personal transformation we call color breathing and holographic regression, or holographic memory theory. You'll learn about those later. Right now, what's important is that you all felt good, yes or no? Was that helpful? Okay. This is the beginning. This is as powerful as this was. This is the baby stuff. Okay. Now, one of the things that often screws us up, and since since some of you started to experience this right away, is this idea that when we apply the law of attraction, we bring things into our life that are in harmony with our dominant thoughts, right? and that's fine. The problem is that what we think our dominant thoughts aren't. Okay? And I'll reference this really, really quickly. You bring up that time when you were, by the way, if you couldn't come up with a time when you felt like a winner, remember a time you felt the most amazing, thrilling, fulfilling, all-encompassing pleasure ever. And that can be anything. Biting into a freshly baked chocolate chip cookie, your first romantic experience, your child's birthday, your birthday, whatever. I don't care what it was, as long as it's amazing pleasure. As long as it's powerful pleasure or victory or joy, it's going to be a higher vibration that you can work with. Okay? Now, one of the things I'm going to teach you really, really quickly is something. It really worked. Yes, it did. Right? How about that? Right? How many were surprised that it actually worked? Anybody? A lot of people are like, oh, no, I've been around David forever. I know this shit, right? Okay. Okay, so here's the next drill. I'm going to teach you about these naggy feelings. Again, we're going to cover it much more in depth in part 3 of the webinar. But here's the next thing that we need to talk about. Dominant thoughts. The pleasure feeling is what we try to consciously focus on, but in the background there's always sometimes these naggy, icky feelings. Okay, so Alyssa, and I know Ivy was having some trouble too. If victory was not very accessible, that's fine. But I guarantee you, at some point in your life, you felt a pleasure. Right? I don't need to know what it is. I'm not the pleasure police. Use that with this process. It'll work just as well, or better many times. Okay. Clinically, by the way, when I work with trauma patients or things like that, a lot of times when my patients come in, and if they're coming from a lifetime of child abuse or domestic abuse, or they've been in the foster system for a while, you ask them to remember a time when they felt safe. They can't do it. They've never had that experience, so they don't know what that's like. So instead, I go with pleasure, because we can always access some degree of pleasure, and that's an even higher state many times than safety. And so we can actually use that to dissolve a lot of crap from our system. Again, we'll cover that in part 3 of the webinar, right? But now what I want us to do is I want us to learn how to do affirmations differently. Okay? So one of the things that happens, how many of you notice that when you start to do affirmations, you gotta say it a lot before it actually works? True or not true? What if we could get a 10x effect in our system with maybe 5 to 10 repetitions, and that would be it? Would that be useful? Okay. So here's the next technique, and to do this one, we're going to talk about something that is vitally important for any student of the law of attraction, any coach or therapist or mentor, people who do any kind of counseling. If you're in sales or marketing, 3 to 5, yes. If you're in sales or marketing, this is going to be absolutely critical. If you're any type of influence professional, in other words, where you have to get people to want to do the things you want them to do, ethically and honestly, this is going to be one of the most important lessons you ever get. For some of you, it will be review. If you're coming from a neurolinguistic background, you're going to learn something you learned previously from a completely different angle. Now, in our world, we have beliefs and belief systems. Okay? And those beliefs are hierarchical in nature. The higher up that hierarchy you go, the more control that belief has over all the levels below it. So let me just show you really quick on my screen what that might look like. Don't mind me, I'm not always sure where I put my stuff. Hold on a second. As you can see, there's a lot here. No, it's right here. Okay. So some of you who've been around NLP may have seen this particular diagram from time to time. And as you can see, it's right below the Identity by Design silo. So your beliefs have a hierarchy to them, at the highest level is what we call spirituality and purpose. And we have classes designed for this. Directly below that is your identity level. Directly below that is your beliefs and values. And then what you think you're capable of, what your behaviors should be in a situation, and then your environment. So this is a top-down hierarchy. The higher up the pyramid you go, the more control you exert on the levels below it. So in every human being, we have a phenomenon known as the emotional bonding checklist. Depending on what class we're teaching, you'll also hear it referred to as the emotional motivation checklist. Okay? So, this is really, really important because every single one of us, man, woman, child, maybe even Martian, for all I know, works off this hierarchical structure to their beliefs. Now, rather than explain it to you, I want you to experience the power of tapping into what's at the top of the pyramid, the identity and belief, values, and spirituality level. Would that be okay to have that experience? Go ahead and type it in the chat if that's okay. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. To do this, we're going to do a drill together. This is called the emotional motivation checklist. Let me find it really quick. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between the screen and you, so I want you guys to be able to see me, but at the same time, I want you to be able to do this drill. So this is called the emotional motivation checklist, and this is a way of dialoguing with your own neurology to figure out what's going to give you the path of least resistance towards a positive state change, as well as what reasons your nervous system has for allowing you to manifest these things. So let's talk about this for a moment. We're going to go through this little process together in a minute, but I want to explain this to you. And we're going to do something that's very, very personal. So again, I want you to stop for a moment, and I want you to think about what you absolutely most dearly want in some aspect of your life. Maybe, in fact, what was your big reason for learning the techniques today? What is it you want to be able to do? Right? I want you to just close your eyes for a moment. Again, if you're driving, don't do this. But I want you to close your eyes for the moment, and I want you to just think about what it is you really, really want as a byproduct of this law of attraction class. What is it you really want as a byproduct of doing these drills and skills? What is it you want as a byproduct of learning to become a master of manifestation that motivated you to click on this webinar and stay with me today? What was it? I want you to just go ahead and write that down on a piece of paper in front of you. I want you to just, whatever pops up into your head, I want you to write it down, and I want you to look at it. And when you've done that, type done in the chat. Perfect. Dana's really on top of this. Good. Perfect. Now, let me go back to my screen. So, first thing I want you to notice is when you wrote it down, look at it, say it out loud once or twice, and notice what happens to the feelings in your body. What happened to the feelings in your body when you just looked at that and read it out loud? Just once or twice. We're going to do the whole drill together, but I want you to just tell me what happened. Felt warmer? Wave of power? Perfect. We're just getting started. We're just getting started. Okay? So I'm going to go back to my screen and I'm going to walk you through this drill. Now, next to that answer that you wrote down, I want you to just put a little line and I want you to write this question. What is important about that? What is important about the answer you just gave? And I want you to answer that question beneath the what's important question. I want you to just write the first thing that pops up into your head, the exact words. Write down exactly what's important about that. When you've done that, go ahead and type done in the chat. Done. Perfect. Now, take that answer, write it on a second line, draw a line, draw a little dash, write the same question. What's important about that? So let me show you what this looks like. So we ask our first question, whatever that is, we get our answer, and then we draw some lines. We ask the question, what is important about that, right? We take that answer, we write it on a second line, we draw a line out, what's important about that? When you write down the first thing that pops up. Put that on the third line. So this will be your third answer, right? What's important about that? Okay, so you have what you came onto the webinar for. You asked what was important about that. That became your second answer. You asked what was important about that. That became your third answer. And then finally you asked what was important about that. Now, for most humans, 3 levels is about as far as we need to go. Sometimes we go further, sometimes we don't. But that's the process. Now, if you followed instructions, you should have 3 answers to 3 questions. What I want you to do now is and they should be exact words that came up. If you've done it the way I've explained it, type "I did that" in the chat. Perfect. Now, here's where it gets cool. As you think about all the reasons you logged into this webinar, what you want to be able to do with it, what you want to get for it, as you think about all 3 of those answers, I want you to stand up. And let me see if I can find paper so I can model this. We'll just use this napkin here. I want you to stand up. Now, if you're driving, don't do this. Okay, if you're driving, don't do this. I want you to look at your answers. I want you to look at your answers. I want you to read them in your mind 2 or 3 times. And then what I want you to do, take a breath. I want you to speak them out loud 5 times. Just go from question 1 or answer 1 to answer 3 5 times in a row. So you should have I've said 15 things. Just do it. Just go ahead and just read them out loud into the room. I don't need to hear it. And when you're done, type "done" in the chat. That was quick, Lisa. Holy cow. Done. Okay, perfect. Okay, now, what happened to the feelings in your body after the 5th read, by the end of the 5th reading? What did you know? Type in what happened. You exploded, vibration, got stronger. You think this is a better way to manifest stuff? How much more achievable now are the things you want than they were 35, 40 seconds ago? What happened? More, right? Now, this is the minority, but it happens from time to time. How many of you noticed that as you were bringing that up, those amazing feelings, you might have noticed that like kind of sort of in the background was this little nagging, icky kind of a crap feeling? Right? Those were the thoughts you don't know about. Those were actually your dominant thoughts. You see, one of the problems that we have when we're doing affirmations is nobody explains to us what the body's role in all this is. Remember, your autonomic nervous system, the part of you that keeps every other system running, doesn't speak English. It doesn't speak any verbal language that we consciously understand. It works in the language of sensation, primarily kinesthetics, which is how we navigate the vibrational universe. So when you try to do affirmations without this understanding, what most people try to do, and correct me or let me know if this is your experience. When you're trying to do affirmations the old-fashioned way, right? You're writing it down over and over and over again. By the way, you only said it 5 times, right? And look what happened to your body. And we didn't even do it the way I'm going to show you yet. I wanted you to tap into your own belief structures, right? But what happens is we try to, we'll do an affirmation with something that we want, right? And then that nagging feeling will come up in the background, but there'll be this really strong positive feeling, and we say, you know what? I'm just going to focus on the positive feeling. And that seems to make sense, right? If we focus on the positive, we'll tend to get it more. The problem is that the minute you stop consciously doing that, that nagging feeling goes back into operation. Because that naggy feeling in the background is your dominant thought. It's the belief or the life experience or the recording you've made that's been holding you back. And the reason it feels distant isn't because it's weak. It's because it's deep. It's locked in your system, right? And the only time you notice it is when you try to do something that provokes it, right? Does that make sense? Are you guys with me so far? The problem is, once again, is we don't fix the naggy feeling. We just keep trying to pump up the positive one, and hope that it works. So if you've never heard this, you're about to hear it. I've looked at people every human being as moving through the world with the equivalent of a jet engine and an anchor strapped to their back. And it's the difference between the thrust of the engine and the drag from the anchor that determines how far they get, how fast. Now, most people move through the world trying to put more thrust in the engine. But if you've ever tried to pull something that's dragging on the ground, the harder you go, the faster you go, the more pull or drag you get. True, not true? Right? If all you did was chop the anchor, you'd take off like a rocket. You guys with me so far? Part 3 of this webinar will all about cutting the anchor. Okay? But first, I want to give you some tools to supercharge and blow away resistance to the things you want. Would that be okay? I want to teach you how to actually put more thrust in the engine that simultaneously eliminates blocks. And to do that, I need to explain something to you. When I asked you what's important about why you're on this webinar, right? I didn't ask you why you wanted it. Remember that? I didn't ask you why, because it doesn't matter. And this is a big one, because when we do this next piece, your brain, your rational lying brain, might try to paint an altruistic, good Samaritan, socially acceptable reason for why you want the things you want instead of the real reason. Does that make sense? Here's the thing you need to understand. When you're eliminating resistance, the most powerful reason a person has for doing the thing they just said they didn't want to do is the reason they come up with. Now, again, in a couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a Secrets of You and Influence webinar. We'll talk about resistance removal. But what I want you to understand now is that if you can get your own nervous system to generate a primal, spontaneous reason for doing something, it will bypass any other resistance from any other reason you generate. And that sounds weird, but a lot of times, some of the most powerful reasons we have are the most selfish ones. And it's okay to be selfish with this. Right? I'm just giving you that caveat right up front. So here's what we're going to do. By the way, was the last couple exercises powerful? Okay. So I want you to take your answers to the questions we just asked. And I want you to do this. This is called, in our system, there's several levels to this. We're only going to be able to, with the time we have, We're only going to be able to cover the first level. So we'll, in future trainings, in the program I'm going to talk about very shortly, we'll cover all the other levels to it. But this is the first level of it. But I want you to experience the power of this. Okay. So I want you to get out a piece of paper. And I'm gonna kind of write it out for you because I think it's easier to see. Let me make this a little bigger. So, I deserve, first answer, because fill in the blank. So let me explain this to you. So you got your first answer here, right? You're going to say, I deserve. Let's say we're trying to manifest money, right? I deserve $100,000 in the bank because I work hard, right? Whatever comes up is what you write. So again, first thing that comes up, right? That's what you put here. Let me erase that really quick. So I deserve X because. Right? Now again, you fill in your answer. I want you to do that. Again, I deserve. Fill in your answer because. And then fill in your next answer. Right? I want you to do that for each of your answers that you've written here. And when you've done that, go ahead and type done in the chat. Okay. Perfect. Now, just like we did before, I want you to stand up. I want you to put your answers in your hand. Scan your body. Notice how you feel right now. And each of those, I want you to read each one 5 times. I deserve X because fill in the blank. I deserve X because fill in the blank. I deserve X because fill in the blank. Say them out, each one out loud 5 times, and notice what happens in your body. Right? Cool. What'd you notice? Some of you are still doing it. It's okay. Take your time with it. Feels part of you. Very good, Consuelo. Bubbly. Are you on? Is your system? Why are you highly more energized, vibrationally higher than you were 35 seconds ago? Grounded. Like I said. Yes. You're on fire now. Your neurology is primed. Why? Because you tapped into your personal conscious and unconscious beliefs. And because of the structure of the way that particular affirmation was created, your neurology created a way to do it without resistance. Feels weird? Okay, it's fine. Again, if you weren't doing anything, you wouldn't feel any different, right? Feels more attainable. Yes. And this is why we call them Yinformations. Because when people generate their own rationale, if I say, no resistance, easy flow, there it is. The moment your neurology, that spontaneous, because whatever comes up, remember, there are 6 dynamics to an unconscious response. Right? First one is the unconscious mind always answers first. It always answers honestly. It always feels like you're making it up. You always have an urge to edit what just came up. What comes up is almost never loud and it's almost never linear. When you give yourself, when you create a yin formation or an affirmation with this structure, your neurology automatically generates the belief system that would allow it to become true for you. In other words, instead of coming up with a societal reason or a religious reason or whatever, your neurology will just reach into its most primal level that has the strongest, motivating, harmonious connection to why that will allow you to generate that, and it'll link it together. Does that make sense? Well, it doesn't have to make sense. You just experienced it, right? True or not true? Would you like to take it to another level? All right, close your eyes. Actually, do this again. Read your affirmations out loud again 5 times each. As you do that, notice that there's a place in your body where those amazing feelings start, where they grow and where they spread from. Go ahead and point to where you feel that. Now close your eyes. Look at it with your inner eye. Notice there's a color, maybe even a series of colors connected to those amazing feelings. What color or colors would that be for you? First impression. Now imagine a brilliant ball of that energy floating above your head. Notice how the feelings in your body shift and change with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. That amazing ball of transformation and manifestation begins to grow, begins to expand, begins to fill the entire room from floor to ceiling, from wall to wall, and all points in between. Notice how it wraps itself around you like an amazing blanket of magical manifestation and transformation. A cocoon, a shield, a suit of armor, insulating you, protecting you from all loss, all derivations, real or imaginable, at the same time, flooding your mind, flooding your body, flooding your spirit with everything it most wants, everything it most needs, in an infinite, ever-expanding, and unlimited supply. When you know you've got that, breathe those colors through your entire being. Let it fill you up like water fills up a bottle, like fluid fills up a test tube, like hot air or helium fills up a balloon. Anchor it in, my friends. So fully, so completely, no force in the universe can turn it off or take it away, not even you. When you know you've got that, test it. Try to turn it off, try to take it away. Notice what happens instead. And when you're done, when you're satisfied, type your experience in the chat. Started swaying and smiling. Very cool. All right. Strong, empowering feeling. You guys ready to go to the next level? Okay. So, like I said, we're at the top of the hour. I've taken you as far as I can with the foundations of these things. With your permission, I'd like to show you a package we've put together that will take that these skills are drawn from. We'll show you the whole complete program. We'll show you how to get involved in that if that's something you want to do. It only takes 30, 40 minutes or so. And when we come back for part 3, we'll show you how to get rid of those icky, naggy feelings. Would that be cool? With your permission, can I show you what I've put together for you? Okay. So, dun, 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 with your permission. Okay. With your permission, let me go back to my screen here. I'd like to talk to you about where all these techniques and principles are drawn from. And this is our Hidden Laws of Attraction, Ultimate Manifestation Mastery, Magnetic Mind Control Training Home Study course. This is a course, actually a series of courses I put together into a package that is designed to absolutely teach you how to control your mind and body to become a master of vibrational manifestation, whether it's for wealth, health, success, happiness, it doesn't really matter. This is how your neurology really works, how you can tap into the magic of your very own neurology. So let's look at what we got for you. First of all, there's so much to this Ultimate Manifestation Mastery Home Study course. It's all about helping take your life to the next level. So if you want to make more money, you'll figure out how to do that. If you want to get more dates, we'll show you how to do that. If you want to help more people, this is the most powerful, rapid way to do that at a scale. If you want to be more confident and powerful and charming and charismatic and irresistible, if you would like to literally program the universe to give you everything you want by helping other people get what they want, this is a course that will absolutely take you to the next level. Again, you don't have to believe me. you've experienced just what a tiny piece of these things can do for you. Okay? So here's what I put together for you. And this offer is good until June 8th, 2022 at 11:59 p.m. Okay? So we're going to teach you in the Ultimate Manifestation Mastery Home Study course how to systematically unlock the power of your subconscious mind to quickly manifest anything that you desire. And we're going to, in the process of that, we're going to show you how to find and remove the blocks to your health, wealth, success, and happiness you didn't even know you had. We're going to show you how to become an absolute money magnet to instantly and effortlessly influence people in person and remotely. How to find and remove the hidden negativities that are blocking you from moving forward. There's a simple way to do it. You'll learn how to do it. And once you do it, there is nothing that you can't get around. There's nothing you can't beat or overcome. And you can use that to clear up the issues that just don't seem to go away. If you've ever done something and then 6 days later it's come back, or an hour later it's come back, or the same people, you keep dating the same person with a different face in your life, these are all symptomatic of vibrational blockages that are looking for ways to be resolved. We'll show you the shortcuts for doing that. Right? This is the fastest way to get through your shit in the shortest amount of time possible. We showed you level 1 of the Yinformation method. We showed you how it links to your belief system and how the simple structure of level 1 Yinformations can cause you to become super magnetized and vibrationally harmonized with the things you want. If you moved through the world with just this ability, people would just start things would just start coming into your life. A lot of times people just throw stuff at you in a good way. Right? We'll show you how to delete the negativity and vibrational imprints from your past, to install traits, qualities, and characteristics of naturally lucky people. There's about 5 to 6 psycho-emotional traits, behavioral traits that all lucky people have. We're going to show you what they are, how they manifest, and how to install and amplify them in your life so that your automatic luck quotient, the amount of luck you generate in your mind, in your body, in your world, grows exponentially. We're going to teach you the most powerful engine of transformation I have ever come across, even more powerful than color breathing in many cases, form manifestations, and pretty much everything else. It's called image cycling, and I firmly believe that this is an absolute game changer when it comes to tapping into the powers of the universe to get whatever you want. Everything from healing terminal cancer to manifesting things that you just don't qualify for. Again, I have all kinds of stories. You can go to my YouTube channel and look up funny law of attraction stories, and you'll hear me telling 3 or 4 of the most amazing things as a byproduct of this image cycling class, right? Total value is $1,497. Actually, it's more than that, but we're going to give you, we got more stuff for you. If you grab this course today, we're going to include these amazing, super free exclusive bonuses as a way to round out and flesh out your manifestation and law of attraction programming. Okay, so the first thing we're going to give you is one of our flagship courses. This is Vibrational Influence United Kingdom. Normally our Vibrational Influence classes are 3 days. This was a special 5-day deep dive into the hidden laws of attraction and the magical universe that we did in the United Kingdom. And it's going to teach you how to systematically lock the secret powers of your subconscious and higher conscious mind to gain control of your mind and body, to unlock your unlimited potential, tap into your psychic abilities, and be able to manifest phenomena, how to harness the forces of the universe to do your bidding. People at this class were able, after just a little bit of training, to make themselves heavier or lighter, to douse effectively, to do a lot of really interesting vibrational and energy healing modalities, to heal themselves and others, to clear your chakras and master your own energy fields, and to manifest anything you want and increase your psychic skills, and much, much more. This class, again, we went deep dive. It has 2 full days of extra bonus material that will completely transform your life. If you liked even a little bit of what we've covered so far, this will take it beyond what it's into the realm of Jedi school, really. So it's a $1,597 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free. Why? Because we want you to succeed. We want to reward people who take action. There are two absolutely important ingredients to success in life. One is the identity that you move through the world in. What do you believe you deserve? What do you believe you're capable of? What do you believe your behaviors should be, right? Your identity is critical, and that's what we cover in the Vibrational Alchemy Silo. But there's another piece, and that's action. For everything you do in the metaphysical universe, if you don't take an action, if you don't invest in yourself physically or in the actions needed to manifest things, to give the energy you've created a vessel to reside in. We can talk about this in our class, right? It won't manifest. You have to have those two things. You have to have an identity that supports the person you want to be, and you have to take physical actions in this world that ground that energy and pull it into this plane with you. We call it the law of externalization, okay? We want to reward you for taking action. We want to give you the information so that there's no secrets that you don't have access to. Total value so far is $3,094, but we're not going to stop there. If you grab your course now, we're going to actually include some of the most powerful vibrational healing information I've ever taught. Like I said before, I have more energy healing credentials than McDonald's sells hamburgers. I have a doctorate in acupuncture and oriental medicine. I've been a certified Reiki healer forever. Pranic healing, pranic psychotherapy, DNA, Bengston, and I've put it all together with the hermetic principles that make them all work into a special drill down on healing techniques and healing modalities. Come on, let me just make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. In this course, we're going to systematically teach you how to unlock the powers of your subconscious mind to find and remove the energetic blocks to your health and wealth and happiness that you didn't know you had. How to become a master of energy healing, both in person and remotely. How to find and remove the hidden energy and negative blockages that are behind the diseases people are manifesting. How to clear up the issues that just don't seem to go away. Powerful new energy control methods for programming your mind and your body to generate healing energies that you can use with yourself and other people, both in person and remotely. You'll learn the structure and the mechanics of your energy bodies to empower your healing and manifestation skills for maximum results in minimum time. You'll remove the negativity from your past, the energetic and vibrational self-defense secrets that will keep other people's energies from infecting you wherever you go. One of the biggest things that happens a lot with my students, they come in and maybe this is you too. Maybe you're so empathic. You go into a room full of people, and before you know it, you've got their stuff, and you don't realize it's their stuff, and you're at the mercy of the energies that they're throwing at you. We're going to show you how to turn that off like a switch, how to create shields and vibrations, and cleanse that crap from your mind and body in a very fast, very safe, very effective way. So that no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you can protect yourself and do the healing work that's important to you for yourself or others without fear of infection, vibrationally or likewise. Okay, we'll teach you to discover the most powerful engines of personal transformation and manifestation ever. Once again, a review of the image cycling and Yin-formation technologies, and a whole lot more. Total value for this is $1,997. We're going to give it to you free. Again, because we want no stone unturned. We want every base to be covered for you. Right? It's a $5,091 value. We're also going to include the Secrets of Personality Transformation home study course. Remember that little 7-stage process that I showed you about? This is where you learn the entire 7 stages that we talked about and that we touched on. How to unlock the power of your subconscious mind and reprogram it at will. How to customize your sense of identity and belief system so that it builds you up to be the person you want to be instead of the person society, culture, family, religion, whatever programmed you to be, right? You'll learn how to find and remove the blocks that are keeping you the same, how to remove those limiting beliefs. You'll find and remove the hidden negativity that other people installed in you that you didn't even know you had, how to clear up issues that just will not seem to go away. This can be behavioral, it can be in your belief systems. Doesn't really matter where it is. We'll show you how to find it and how to remove it in a testable, consistent way. We'll change that crappy voice inside your head. You know the one I'm talking about, the one that just said what voice? The one that tears you apart and tells you why you can't have things, why you don't deserve things. We're going to show you how to transform that voice into a voice that builds you up, motivates you, inspires you, gives you the very best advice, and tells you all the reasons why you actually do deserve it. This one technique has caused more emotional transformations in the shortest amount of time than probably any of the other 7 levels. It's amazing the power of this one technique, but when you take it in combination with the rest of the system, it's a complete life changer. We'll show you how to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics that people that you really want. So like I said, if the earlier class we talked about installing the traits of lucky people, but what if there was somebody who was a great tennis player or a great physician, or a great mediator or negotiator or salesman? What would it be like to have the ability to just take those traits and qualities and attributes and literally graft them into your own nervous system so they become an active, behavioral, functional way of moving through the world, amplifying your skills? We're going to show you step by step how that works, how you do it, and when you're trained properly, you can do the entire 7-stage process in as little as 7.5 minutes. Okay? It's a $2,497 value. It's yours free if you register before the end of the webinar. So the total value, everything we've talked about so far, the Hidden Laws of Attraction Home Study Course, Vibrational Influence UK, Vibrational Healing, and of course, Secrets of Personality Transformation. Total value $7,588 if you were to go to our website and try to buy them individually. That's what you'd be looking at paying, and actually more because our prices are actually going up. And finally, we're going to give you a very special class. This was originally an invitation-only masterclass, and this is about applying everything we've talked about so far to finding your soulmate. This is called the Hidden Laws of Attraction Soulmate Secrets Masterclass. How to find, identify, and attract the love of your life and actually keep them. I have personally seen people within days of taking this class literally find someone that they are still with and are absolutely thrilled about. Let me see if I can find the secrets behind this. So in this 7-day, or in this video course, you'll discover the surprising ways that chemistry and your body contribute to infatuation. You'll learn how to overcome the soulmate myths and misconceptions that most people operate by, how to eliminate negative relationship programming from your childhood, how to prepare yourself for communication, how to learn techniques to move you from infatuation to love. This is one of the biggest hang-ups that we all have in finding the right person. We're going to show you how to accept change in a relationship so that it becomes a positive thing instead of something you have to dread. How to determine what you need in a relationship and communicate that in a way that your partner gets it and is willing to do it. This is a big deal. How to identify the obstacles in your relationship and conquer them. We're going to teach you strategies for keeping that spark alive. If you've been, it doesn't matter if you've been with your partner 20 minutes, 20 days, 20 months, or 20 years. Every now and then there's a cooling off that people go through. We're going to show you how to recapture and restart that spark, and so much more. Okay. You'll also discover, hold on a second here. You'll also discover why you're attracted to certain types of people. Many times that very first formative experience that creates the template for the people we're attracted to happened between the ages of 0 and 5, believe it or not. You'll identify family patterns which contribute to your relationship stuff. You'll discover the qualities you must have in a partner to be happy, thrilled, fulfilled, and satisfied. They're often not what you think. You'll learn the basic communication patterns and the ways to demonstrate your love in the way that your partner accepts it and reciprocates it. You'll discover the difference between sex, sexuality, sensuality, and the role each one plays. You'll learn to identify potential relationship challenges and how to handle them once and for all. And that's just a small part of what's in this class. It's a $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you free because over 50% of the time when I ask people what they want, it's to find that one perfect person, that soulmate, right? Total combined value is $9,538. Let's just review. So for those of you who really want to take your life to the next level, who want to bring in more wealth, more money, more love, more happiness, more health and success, this is the program that absolutely will knock it out of the park for you. Don't take my word for it. Do the drills, experience the results, and then decide if it's something that's worthwhile to keep or not. Hidden Laws of Attraction, $1,497 value. Free to you. We're going to give you the Vibrational Influence UK Special Edition. It's a $1,597 value. We're going to give this to you free. We're going to give you Vibrational Healing, $1,997 value, absolutely free. Secrets of Personality Transformation Home Study Course, $2,497 value. We're going to give it to you free. And then finally, the cherry on the sundae, the icing on the cake, Hidden Laws of Attraction, Soulmate Secrets, Masterclass, and all the notes that go with it, $1,950 value. Total value for this program is $9,538. But for you, today only, I want you to take action. I want this to be something that you can grab a hold of, take it out into the world, and write your own ticket. And I want you to say, David Snyder delivered everything he promised and more. So for today, I want to give you the best deal humanly possible. I want you to write the script for your life and have it be even better as a result of what you got here today. So you're not going to have to pay $9,538. I'm not even going to charge you $7,347. Nope. I'm not even going to charge you $5,547. Not $3,347. $1,347. Nah, we can do better. For those of you who want to get started, there's no excuse now. You can get it all for one low, one-time investment today of just $997. That's all. Everything I talked about. Think of the potential. Think about what you experienced in just a few moments of applying technique the right way. Imagine what you can do with the entire system. For just one low installment of $997, you can have it all, plus a whole lot more. But for those of you who may need a little help, that's okay. You can break that up into 3 easy installments of just $397. Stephanie will work it out with you, and each month you just pay the invest the $397. You start accessing the material and start generating massive returns on your investment. Okay. So to get started now, all you got to do is go to www.davidsnydernlp.com. That's www.davidsnydernlp.com. The link should be appearing in the chat there if it isn't already. All right. Perfect. I see the links. You guys are golden. Now, I get some of you might be going, okay, well, how do I know this will work? Well, did everything I just showed you work? Right? Start with what you know. Okay? But for those of you who want to be convinced, okay, after you get the course, you have 60 days to put that course into operation. If after 60 days you're not making more money, attracting the love you want, becoming more successful, manifesting the life of your dreams, being more secure and confident, able to win social encounters, and you're still feeling helpless, if you're not satisfied, I will refund every single dime you invested in this course. But I know you won't refund it. You know how I know that? Because this shit works, guys. I've used it to write my life story. I'm still using it today, and I want you to have it. We live in an abundant universe. We live in a world where if you have your mind right and you take the right actions. Mr. Rasmus says, David, you saved my career. The echo technique is real. Thank you, Rasmus. Right? We live in an abundant universe, but we have a society. We have public relations people. We have governments all trying to convince us that we're not enough, that we don't have, that there's scarcity in this universe. Not if you know how the game works, not if you know how the universe works. You can become the person who deserves to have everything you want. You have 60 days to play. If at the end of 60 days you're not on the fast track to becoming the person you want to be, to having the life you want, let us know, and we'll give you that refund. If it doesn't work for you, we don't want we don't want the investment. We want you to use it for something that actually works for you. Now, I ask you to be ethical about this, right? If you're making money hand over fist, don't ask for a refund, right? Pay it forward. Help other people become more successful and healthy, okay? All you got to do is go to www.davidsnydernlp.com/HLOA. www.davidsnydernlp.com/HLOA. One more time with feeling. www.davidsnydernlp.com/HLOA. If you have any questions at all, you can reach my administrative goddess, Stephanie Skiba, at Stephanie@NLP Power, or you can call her directly at 858-282-4663. Now, I will jump in and say really quick right here. First of all, you've got nothing to risk, so give her a call. At this time, people rush to the phones and her phone just blows up. If you get her voicemail, it's absolutely critical that you leave your contact information. Leave your name, email, and phone number. If you leave your contact information, you will qualify for the package. You will qualify for the bonuses. If you don't leave your contact information and you call back tomorrow trying to get this deal, it will not be available. Okay? So again, do your due diligence. Stephanie will spend as much time as she needs to get your questions and get you set up on your payment plans. Make sure you have access to your material. It's available for immediate download once you're done processing. You have nothing to lose. Click now. Go to www.davidsnydernlp.com/hidden laws of attraction and get started on the fast track to manifesting everything you want. Now, remember I said the world goes to people who take action. If this wasn't an amazing enough offer, if and only if you grab your course now, before June 8th, 11:59 p.m., and actually before I log off this webinar, if you grab your course right now, you go to www.davidsnydernlp.com right now and raise your hand and say, hey, I want this. I'm going to include the following amazing fast action bonuses just to say thank you for taking action in your life, for no longer being at effect in your life, for being a cause maker, and for being a person who's in control finally. I'm going to reward you for doing that. I'm going to give you a 3-month trial membership to our NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Practice Group and access to our 11-year video archive. These are videos that have been done every single month for the last 11 years. It covers everything from the law of attraction to how to resolve trauma, how to overcome chronic pain, how to find and attract your ideal lovers and mates, how to learn faster, improve your memory, do magical, cool stuff, martial arts, self-defense, you name it, we covered it. So let me explain really, really quickly what the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program actually is. So here's how it works. One of the things that you'll find out the longer you spend in Planet David, that it's not about what you learn, it's what you do. And so one of the things we discovered that makes all the difference between somebody who just buys a course and still has the same life and someone who buys a course and actually gets what they want is action. So we created in October of 2010 the first hands-on NLP Power Practice Mastermind Mentoring session. And the way it works is on the third Saturday of every month, you come into my facility or you log in via Zoom or Facebook, and I literally go around the room and I say, Razmoon, what do you want to learn? Deirdre, what do you want to learn? Ivy, what do you want to learn? Alexa, what do you want to learn? Liz, what do you want to learn? Jason, what do you want to learn? Joe, what do you want to learn? Josh, what do you want to learn? Brian, what do you want to learn? Right? And I write on the board everything you want to know about, the sticking points that you have. And I step back and I look at it. And I look at where they all kind of connect and intersect. And I create a lesson plan right on the spot. And for the next 4 hours, or more usually, I drill you on those skills until you can do them in your sleep. You get to log in and rub shoulders, work hand in hand with people from all over the world who are interested in the same exact things that you're interested in. And you get the one thing that no home study course can do without help. Hands-on training and real-world feedback from people who are doing it and from people who are teaching it. You get personal time in that group with me on the third Saturday of every single month. Try it for 90 days. If you're not happy with it, well, you got 90 days of me and hanging out with cool people who like to do cool stuff. If you like it, stay and we'll show you how to do that. But give it a shot. But during the 90 days, you have unlimited access to an 11-year archive of video, hundreds of hours of footage that has never been shown on YouTube, never been featured in a product, completely off, unscripted, with the drills, the skills, the explanations, the demonstrations. If you need a translator, we might be able to find somebody who can translate it for you, but right now we don't offer translation. Google Translate might be your friend for this, though. I think there is a setting where you can actually listen and it will translate. You might have to play start and stop and go a little bit, but I know my cousin-in-law on my wife's side speaks no English, and he buys and sells houses with people who don't speak Chinese through Google Translate. So it's a really, if you have that issue, it doesn't come up that often, but if you have issue, Google Translate is probably a really good way to take the content and actually change for it. So anyway, that's what the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program is. We've got another one coming up on the 18th, as a matter of fact. So for those of you who grab your package today, you can log right in, and I'm going to ask you, what do you want to know about? What do you want to learn? I'm going to write it on the board, and then for the next 4.5 to 5 hours, we're going to drill. We're going to do skills until you can do them in your sleep. You won't get a certificate from the mastermind program. What you will get is the one thing that transcends everything, and that's a skill set. You'll get your sticking points resolved, and you'll go out into the world to apply your skills in real time with real people and get real world results, because that's what we're about. No bullshit, right? The techniques you need and all the bullshit you don't. If you're really serious about it, jump in now, because this will change your life. For those of you who've been in the mastermind, those of you who've been, maybe you came to us through one of these webinar packages, post in the groups. Let these people know who are first timers what this mastermind program has done for you. Because you expect me to say it's awesome. Listen to these people, okay, while I go back to my explanations, okay? Because we're not going to stop with just the mastermind. But if you combine the mastermind with everything we've talked about, it's a total combined value of $11,135. But we're not going to stop with just one fast action bonus. We've actually got another one for you. This is a 4-day deep dive attraction mastery, dating, mating, relating, home study course. One of the things that we have found over and over and over again with people, especially graduates from the Soulmates, people who've attended the Soulmate Secrets course, one of the things we discovered was they have this idea of attracting, they want to draw people into their world, but they don't have the physical, mental, or verbal skills, the psychological skills, to find the people and attract them in a way that's useful. So we've put together this 4-day video course that will design to teach men and women how to be the perfect mate or the perfect attraction mechanism or person for them. This is going to allow you to systematically control your state, how to figure out how to interpret the body language of a man or woman. We're going to teach you the 7 stages that people go through from complete stranger to wanting to become very, very intimate. We're going to teach you the drawbacks that women have when it comes to being approached, the drawbacks that men have when it comes to approaching, how to ethically and honestly create powerful, fulfilling relationships and generate attraction in people so that you can just write your own ticket in your romantic world. Now, again, I don't pass judgment on these skills. When I teach attraction skills, I only teach co-ed classes. I do not do classes just for men. I do not do classes just for women. Why? Because you have to understand the other side. You have to understand how one gender perceives the behaviors and the approaches that the other gender is creating. And it's a little fun for me to watch the look of amazement on their face when people realize that they've been treating men like they treat their girlfriends, and the guys have been treating their women like they've been treating their guy friends, and they're different. You both want the same thing, and you need to be in the room together to explore this and really get your true questions answered and get the hands-on that you need so that you can walk up to somebody and create a relationship from perfect stranger to being married and all points in between. Okay, this is a great class. It's based on my original award-winning Killer Influence training program, and it's designed to bridge that gap between what you need to know and what you actually do know and what you can apply. It's a $1,997 value. It's the perfect complement to the Soulmate Secrets Masterclass. We're going to give it to you free if you're one of the first several people to grab this course before I log off. The fast action bonuses are very conditional. They're available until I log off the webinar. Right? Once I log off, you can get the original package I talked about until 11:59 p.m. tonight, but these fast action bonuses, they go away. So if you're on the fence, you got that 60-day guarantee, you've got these fast action bonuses to help make things even better for you. Total combined value is $13,132, but you know what? Remember I said earlier that hands-on training is the difference that makes the difference? For those of you, the next 17 people who register today, I'm going to give you a free VIP super ticket to our next Identity by Design Hypnosis and Hypnotherapy Certification Bootcamp. Everything I talked about in the Vibrational Alchemy course is taught here, and you will have the opportunity to be in a room with me live in Las Vegas, August 1st through the 4th, 2022, and go through this training with me personally. I guarantee you will leave a very changed human being with the ability to help yourself and everyone you care about. Okay? This ticket's only available to the next 17 people who register today. It is a $2,250 value. It is yours absolutely free. Okay. Now the cool thing about our VIP tickets is once you have it, it's yours until you use it. So if for some reason you can't make the Identity by Design training in Las Vegas in August, next time one rolls around, you just let Stephanie know, you call her up, and she'll move you to the head of the line. Right? If something comes up at the last minute where you can't come to Las Vegas, you let Stephanie know, she'll move you to the next Identity by Design training. If you can't make the Identity by Design training, but you have someone you think would really benefit from it, someone you care about, you can gift that VIP training to them. The other thing is that the VIP ticket gives you a price lock guarantee. What does that mean? Our prices are fixed to go up in July, a lot. If you have one of these VIP tickets, you're comped no matter how much the course costs, no matter how many days it is. If we do a 5-day Identity by Design training, you get to go right to the head of the line. If it's $3,300 to walk in, it doesn't matter. You just show us your ticket, you come right to the head of the line. Okay? Because I want you to have this experience. I want to work with you in a room for 4 days, 5 days, however long it takes to get these skills into you and watch you change. Okay? That's my goal. That's how I get my jollies, guys. I want to see the lights come on. All right? It's a $2,250 value. We're going to give it to you free if you are one of the next 17 people to register for this course right now. Now, if you've already registered, you're one of those people, you got this. You didn't even know you were getting it. You got it. Merry Christmas. Your life is about to change in a big way. A big, big way. Total value is $15,382. Right? So let's just review what we've got here. Right? $15,382 value. What are you getting? Hidden Laws of Attraction. Home study course. $1,497 value. Vibrational Influence United Kingdom Special Edition. $1,597 value. It's yours for free. Vibrational Healing 2021. $1,997 value. Free. Secrets of Personal Transformation Self-Mastery Supercharger Home Study Course. $2,497. Free. Secrets of Personal Hidden Laws of Attraction Soulmate Secrets Masterclass. $1,950 value. It's yours free. Attraction Mastery 4-Day Attraction Skills Intensive Video Home Study Course. $1,997 value. Yours absolutely free. The NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Group Trial and 11-year archive. $1,597 value. Free. And of course, your VIP ticket to Identity by Design live in Las Vegas, August 1st through the 4th, 2022. It's a $2,250 value. All you got to do to get yours is just invest the $997 or 3 easy installments of $397. All you got to do is go to www.davidsnydernlp.com. That's www.davidsnydernlp.com. www.davidsnydernlp.com/HLOA. davidsnydernlp.com/HLOA. If you have any questions at all, reach out to Stephanie Skiba at 858-282-4663, and she will get you squared away. Lady Holly of Bigelow is absolutely a godsend as well. She's helping a lot of people in the back chats. That's because that's what we do. We help people. We help you make the life you want the way you want it. If you're serious about it, we're serious about helping you. All you got to do to get in and get started is go to www.davidsnydernlp.com/HLOA. www.davidsnydernlp.com/HLOA. Okay. Hopefully I typed that right. So what we're going to do now, really, really quick, is I'm going to give you guys a 10-minute potty break. Actually, no, we'll do an 8-minute potty break. So you're going to come back at 5:46, and we're going to pick up where we left off with teaching you how to get rid of that crap that you've been carrying around. Would that be okay? Go ahead and finish up your processing with Stephanie and Holly and Brandon in the background there. If you have questions, you can reach them out at 858-282-4663. Why is that not? There we go. Or you can call Stephanie at nlppower.com. All right. So we'll see you at 5:46, and we'll pick up where we left off. Talk to you soon. My potty break is over, so if anybody has any questions, I can answer them now while we're waiting. Go ahead and let me have it, guys. Does anybody have any? I'll let you guys go. So Eric is asking, how do you access emotional states you don't have any clear memory for or reference for? It's very simple. Point to where you feel it. If you're not sure where to point, pretend you do and go with that. There's all kinds of interesting neurological reasons why that works, but that's the shortcut. Laura's asking, what's my favorite thing to teach and why? It really depends. I love teaching the metaphysical stuff, but I also love teaching the persuasion and influence. I love teaching the healing because it keeps me grounded. I tried to send up 20 minutes ago and no call back. When can I expect a call? Bill, did you call 858-282-4663? And if you did you leave a message? Okay. If you left a message, Stephanie usually gets back within less than 24 hours, depending on where you are in the queue. She's probably running around like a chicken with her head cut off right now. So it's really important that, and I'll send her a note just to make sure she follows up with you. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you did the right thing reaching out to me. So good. Yeah, this is the one time where we wish we had like 6 or 7 people on the phone lines because we get inundated. But you basically you'll hear from us within 24 hours at the longest. So Logan's asking, hold on, so some good questions coming in. What is the youngest age a person should learn my material? With parental supervision, the youngest I've had, I think, is 13. No, 13. Somebody actually brought their son to my Killer Influence class, and he became the most dangerous 13-year-old in his middle school. So, as long as the parents are okay with the subject of the training, and they're accompanied by a parent, I think any age is good as long as they can focus and follow instructions. I think once you get, younger than 11 or 12, you're looking at some serious attentional issues, and sometimes the nature of the material isn't appropriate for a kid. But in terms of teaching them how to fix their stuff, I think we should be teaching these kids as early as 5 how to do simple things like color breathing or magic frame and things like that, because they can fix so much of their stuff before it becomes a lifelong issue just by understanding a few basic aspects of things. Hold on a second. So Bidaji is asking, how do you remove toxic coping mechanisms that were developed because of toxic surroundings? First, get out of the surroundings. Figure out what you. We'll actually talk a little bit about that, but actually it starts with, believe it or not, most of our change work or manifestation work usually starts with point to where you feel it. And so the first thing you have to do is you have to remove the energetic reservoir or vibrational imprint that is causing the behavior to perpetuate. Once you resolve that, a lot of those coping mechanisms go away spontaneously because they don't need to be there anymore. The other thing is you retrain the behavior. So you get out of the surroundings, you resolve the emotional traumas that were generating the behaviors, and then you retrain the behaviors. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, we're at that time, so let's get back to training, shall we? Denise says that's what one. Does this work with traumatic brain injury? Many times it does, yes. And I'll tell you how I know that. How many of you are familiar with my energy spinning technique? Okay, so I am continually amazed at what how this spinning technique can put a dent in just about anything. One time I was at Hypnothoughts Live, which I'll be at again this year, and I was teaching the spinning technique, and a gentleman came up to me and he says, "Can you do anything for neuropathy?" And I looked at him with that expression, "I don't know. Let's find out." And turns out he had a brain injury that created some kind of a neuropathy in his, I think it was his legs actually. And we did the spin, And over the course of the next 2 or 3 days, the feeling started coming back into his legs, the surface skin and stuff like that. We've done neuropathy like 3 different ways now, different types of neuropathy, 3 ways. One of which was a traumatic brain injury. So yeah, in fact, I've had several clients who came to me because of traumatic brain injuries, and they were actually working. They started with neurofeedback, and then they'd heard about our stuff, and they made tremendous progress using the spinning, the color breathing, and all the other things that we do, right? Because one of the byproducts of this particular approach is enhanced neuroplasticity, and so the brain will start to generate alternative routes for the same information. But it can also, if the resources are there, it can trigger, in some cases, a regeneration effect, right? Every case is different. So the short answer is yes, it absolutely can. Will it work every time? I don't know. But I have at least 3 cases where we have seen significant change as a byproduct of like spinning or color breathing or something like that. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, I look at it, I'll be honest with you, Tracy. I look at stuff, like I've been teaching the spinning technique and things we've derived from it now going on 15, 16 years at least. And I still, every now and then, I look at the results that this thing produces and I say, that shouldn't fucking work. But it does, you know? And my students actually go out and they do stuff I've never even thought about doing. I had my one Mega Platinum student, Mandar. His parents are visiting from India. They were so jet lagged, but you ever get so tired you can't sleep? He literally walked up to them and said, point to where you feel it, took out the insomnia, spun it, they went to sleep. Like right there. Boom. It was insane. I've had people use this on people. One time at band camp, right? One time I was teaching a class on instant trauma resolution and stuff like that. And you'll learn it in the Identity by Design course. No, it's part of, if you go to Instant Emergency Pain Relief on YouTube, there's a little primer on that. You'll learn how to do it. But there was this one group, I was doing a meetup. We're restarting our meetups, by the way. So if you liked our early content where I was teaching to large groups of people, we're actually getting ready to start those again. So we'll start maybe streaming those out. But there was this one whole group of people. We were in a building, and apparently nobody told us that the air conditioning shuts off at 6 p.m. and we were in there at 7. And so we got 30 people in there, and they're all sweating bullets. And I'm like, well, what the hell am I going to do? So I says, this little downlight. I said, hey, point to where you feel it. And they pointed, they took out the energy, spun it, and everybody cooled off. And I'm like, what? It didn't work, right? So, again, magic inside of you. I'm just going to show you. I didn't put it there. It's always been there. I'm just going to show you how to tap into it. And what you're capable of is probably well beyond what I've even played with, right? Don't believe me. Jump in and test it for yourself, right? All right. So one of the things that we're going to do is at the beginning of our training, we talked about being playful, right? We need to practice being playful. We need to practice positive states. Remember, your autonomic nervous system has a 4-to-1 negativity bias. What does that mean? It means that for every positive thing that you encounter, it has a charge of 1. That makes sense? For every positive thing you encounter, it has a charge of 1. For every negative thing you encounter, it has a charge of 4. So your nervous system has a evolutionarily, biologically programmed bias to accumulate negativity. Okay? So you have to actively cultivate positive states intentionally. Okay? If you don't understand that ratio, you're going to be spinning your wheels a lot with law of attraction. Right? Now it's a suck ratio. I'm telling you right now. 1 positive, 4 negatives, it sucks, right? But I didn't make the rule. I just report them, right? That's what the science is. So here's the deal. You need to, just to get balanced, you need to cultivate 4 positives for every 1 negative. Can you see why maybe as time goes on, we get a little bit denser? Our vibration tends to drop as time goes on because we're operating more and more from that very primal negative level. Now we have a society that feeds that. We have a society that stimulates that negative part of you to make you feel less than, to make you feel incomplete in some way. Now sometimes, well, they'll always tell you that it's for the greater good. We're programming you for your own good. Well, here's how you make that determination. Is the things you've been programmed with making your life better? If the answer is no, fucking change it. Period. Right? This is one of the big things that I teach you this, and I'm going to teach you this in Soulmate Secrets. I'm going to teach you this in Identity by Design. I'm going to teach you this in Attraction Mastery. Probably Personality Transformation too. When you're evaluating the quality of your life, and especially the people in it, the first thing you have to ask is, how is having this person in my life making my life better? And if the answer is they're not, move on. Right? Remember, you have to jealously guard your vibration. That means you have to consciously choose who you hang out with. You have to consciously choose where you spend your time. And if you can't, and if the choice of not spending time there is greater, is a worse consequence than spending the time there, you need to develop tools and tactics and techniques to survive and thrive in those environments, and at the very least, not be negatively affected, if that makes any kind of sense. So that's kind of where we're going with part 3 of tonight's webinar is, all right, how do we begin the process of finding the shit that's keeping us stuck that we didn't even know was there, right? So, but before I get into that, I want to ask you guys some questions. Is there anything in particular that you guys want to know about? Because again, this is now your webinar as far as I'm concerned. Right? I'm going to continue to remind you about our package and let you know when your time is running out and stuff. But this is your webinar now. So help me help you. What do you guys really want to focus on? You want to focus on clearing stuff up? You want to focus on programming your future? What do you want to know about? How to do? How to get rid of blocks? Okay. Repairing after a narcissist in life? Okay, Sandy. How to identify my purpose? Okay. We have a whole class just for that, by the way. Come on. Don't be bashful. Making money? Okay. Golden path information, for sure. How do we clear negative feelings? Develop persistence? Okay. Somebody just joined. Thank you, Tracy. Welcome aboard. How do we clear negative feelings when we're trying to visualize positive stuff? Perfect. That's right up the alley we're going. Develop persistence. People drained by other people. Okay, we can do that. Clearing blocks. Woohoo! How to remove chronic pain. Ooh, okay. Hey, David. How do I sleep better? Okay. Read other people. Well, reading other people, we might not have, it's a little bit off the beaten track, but we do have classes for that. Programming the future. Okay. Clearing blocks. All right. Let's start with the block clearing part. Okay. So let me take off my stuff. Now, remember, some of these things that we're going to be doing together do involve trance processes and conscious processes, although some of them don't seem that way. They have a very profound synergistic effect on your nervous system. Okay. And again, you'll learn why all this works and how it all works in the Identity by Design silo. You'll learn about it in Personality Transformation. Believe me, there's a system in place. And once you understand it, making powerful, profound changes from pain relief to finding the love of your life to manifesting more money and becoming the person who can, it's all doable. It's all doable. Okay? If you do the work. If you don't do the work, then you might as well not get the course because it's just interesting information that you're not doing anything with and there it's useless. So I tell my students, for everything you get from me, even on a free webinar, you're always going to pay twice. What do I mean by that? First payment's easy. That gives you access to the information. That's what we're doing today, right now, right? We're getting access to the information. How much information do you want, right? And for people grabbing the package, that investment is the money, right? But the thing about money is it's a renewable resource. There's infinite amounts of it out there. You can always make more money. That's the easy payment. It's the second payment that really matters. What is that payment? Time, energy, effort to do the drills, to get the skills. The second payment takes you from access to ownership. So, for everything you get from me, even if it's free, you're always going to pay twice. Why? Because you got to do it. And you did. If you've stayed with me this far, you've had experiences. You've gotten up, you've done the drills and had an experience that you couldn't have had any other way. Right? The doors are open. What are you going to do with it now? Right? So, you'll remember when we were tapping into things we wanted to manifest, right? When we said, I want X or I deserve X, because we had this really amped up feeling, but for some of us, there was this little background, negative, icky feeling. True, not true? Right? Why am I not seeing my participants here? One second. I didn't log. Oh, there we are. Okay. So, you guys remember I said that? Yes? Or you noticed that? How many of you had that little ickiness feeling come up? All right. So, first thing I want to cover, I mentioned this earlier, I want to do it again a little bit more officially. Okay. You guys got some really good questions. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get to all of them, but we will cover a lot of the processes. The same process will cover a lot of different questions. So just bear with me here. So you guys remember I said everything that we're going to teach you starts with point to where you feel it. Right? So if I have an icky feeling I want to clear and get rid of, first thing I'm going to do is close my eyes. I'm going to become aware of where in my body that feeling is located. I'm going to point to it. Now, in fact, let's do this together. I want you to think of something that on a shittiness scale of 0 to 10 is around somewhere between a 1 and a 3. Now, a lot of you are going to not follow my instructions here. Okay, I'm going to say pick something that's on a shittiness scale of 1 to 3. You're going to pick Godzilla, a fucking 10 or 20 or 30, right? Don't do that for right now, okay? Pick something that's relatively minor, okay? Because the process is going to be the same, whether it's a 10 or a 3, but depending on how intense the problem is, I'm not there with you to guide you through other things that need to happen, right? So I want you to pick something that's on a scale of 0 to 10 is anywhere between a 1 and a 3, something you want to change, something you want to get rid of. And it can be pain, physical pain, it can be emotional pain, it could be a limiting belief. I don't really care what it is, because as far as your neurology is concerned, it's all just data, vibrational data that it knows how to process. So I want you to take a moment, think of that thing you want to change, and it could be that icky, naggy feeling that you had earlier, or it could be something completely different. 0 to 3, point to where you feel it. As you point to where you feel it, if there were a picture floating somewhere in the space around you that represented that feeling, a picture that you could reach out and touch, where would you reach out to touch it? First impression. Now once you have that, trace the outline of that picture with both of your hands so you know how big it is. And then we need to make sure we've got the right one. So I want you to reach out, grab that picture with both of your hands, make it as big as the room, or start to make it bigger. Notice what happens to the feeling. Does it get stronger or does it get weaker? Whatever it is, it's fine. Now put it back to its original size. You don't need to be typing now, just follow along. Slowly pull that frame closer to your body. Notice what happened to the feeling. Does it get stronger or does it get weaker? Right? Whatever it is, it's fine. Now put it back to its original size. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to take this picture that you're holding. I want you to put a big, thick, black frame around it. Bigger and thicker and blacker the better. Now most of you are probably too young to remember when televisions had real dials and knobs and switches instead of touch screens and remote controls, but I want you to feel along the base of that frame. And you're going to notice some dials and knobs and switches like on an old style touch screen or television, right? I want you to find the knob that controls the brightness or the contrast, Turn that knob all the way to the right until the image whites out completely. And notice how that makes you feel. Turn the knob all the way to the left until the image blacks out completely. Notice how that makes you feel. Decide which one you like better. Right? Whichever one it is. If you like it whited out, turn it all the way to the white. If you like it blacked out, turn it all the way to the left. Now I want you to take the index finger of your dominant hand. And in glowing golden letters on that whited out or blacked out screen, there were some things, some lessons that this experience that you're manipulating had to teach you. I want you to write those lessons on that screen in glowing golden letters so you can keep all the lessons and let everything else go. Now, some people know exactly what those lessons were, and boom, they put it right on that screen, not a problem. Some people have no conscious idea what those lessons are, but your unconscious mind has a part that always knows what those lessons are. So let that unconscious part of you just start writing. Let it flow out of your neurology into your finger and onto that screen in an infinite, an unstoppable stream of information. Just keep writing. Now, some people just draw squiggles. They don't have any freaking clue, like automatic writing. They have no idea what's going on there. Some people draw pictures. Some people get a little pissed off. They write fuck you, fuck you, fuck you across the screen. Some people write with both hands simultaneously, like they're writing Chinese and Hebrew at the same time. However your neurology wants to express itself, just let it come out and onto that screen so you can keep all those lessons and let everything else go. And just keep going. Some people, they're done in a minute. Some people take them 20 minutes. My wife, when she does this, she writes for 40 minutes straight. She's writing War and Peace. Doesn't matter. Just keep writing. You may notice feelings and emotions come up as that writing continues. Put them on the screen. Just write them on the screen. As they come up, they come out. As you feel it, you reveal it. As you reveal it, you heal it. Solved, dissolved, and resolved from the body. Solved, dissolved, and resolved from the mind for all the right reasons. When you know it's done, reach up. Grab that frame and all that stuff inside of it. Shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp or even smaller. Notice how the feelings in your body shift and change as with every breath you take and every beat of your heart, that ball of energy begins to grow, or it begins to move behind you, back behind the horizon until it disappears completely. And it disappears down below the horizon. You know the sound a hammer makes when it's banging on a nail, or when a nail gun is putting things into the wall? Feel it nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back. And when you know it's nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back, test it. Try to bring it back and notice what happens instead. And type in what you noticed. What did you experience? Seth's going, whoa! Robin says gratitude, relief, release. Very good, Renee. An empty, expected feeling, then surprise and relief. Boom, excellent. Alex says it's nailed. I broke my foot. The pain just went to half. All right, excellent. Judy says, wow! I felt nice writing, but after seconds, it does come back. Okay. You got some other stuff that we need to work on. Karen says free. Beautiful. Farah says release. Perfect. Rob Harrison says, tried this, and yep, it works well. So can we do with anything? Pretty much. Yeah. Insecurities lessened. Very good. So what you just learned is a technique that's also in your personality transformation course. It's called the magic frame. Now the magic frame, Enrico says, what did I stumble upon? This is amazing. Yes. And it's still just a piece of the whole system, right? So again, you don't need me to tell you the power of this stuff. You're experiencing it firsthand. There's always things that can be a little bit more, that need a little bit more attention. But one of the reasons that we spend a lot of time on this particular technique and why we teach it in the webinars is because as we go through life, we encounter situations and circumstances that activate the protective mechanism of our subconscious mind. One of the subconscious mind's primary directives is to protect your life, to keep you safe. And if it has to make a choice between your happiness and your survival, guess what it'll choose? It'll choose your survival, right? And so many times as we move through life, we make mistakes or things come out of nowhere. And sometimes similar things happen. So what happens a lot of times is, an example I often use with this is somebody wants to be in business for themselves. Anybody here want to be in business for yourselves? Type it in the chat if you have your own business, right? Any coaches, any therapists, this is going to come up a lot for your clients. Or how many of you have been in a more than one failed relationship, right? So you can relate to this either way. It's the same process, just different content. So what happens many times is your unconscious mind is every bit as smart as you are. It's every bit as smart as you are. However, it doesn't have a time sense like we consciously process. It doesn't work the same way. And so what happens is, let's say somebody starts a business and they build it up to a certain level of success. Things are going really, really well. And then all of a sudden, something comes out of nowhere. You know, they fucking run off, your partner runs off with all your money. COVID shuts you down. The stock market crashes. There's a war somewhere. And all of a sudden, boom, your business is gone. Right? And it hurts. It hurts a lot. And the unconscious goes, man, that hurt. Shit, we got to recover from this. And so what happens? Well, you start over, right? You were successful. You didn't see that coming, but you learned a lot of cool things that allows you to find the resources, find the people. You start that second business, right? And it's going well. And then all of a sudden, boom, something comes out of nowhere, sucks that second business right out from under. You're back to square one again, and the pain is even worse, right? And your unconscious mind is down there going, shit. Every time he has a business, he loses it, and it hurts. I got to protect him from this, or her from this. How am I going to make sure that this never happens again? And the unconscious mind goes, I got it. If they never have another business, they can never lose it. And if they never lose it, they can never feel this way again. Unconscious mind flips a switch, and even though the person knows all the right people, knows all the right paperwork, knows all when to make the right moves, can't pull the trigger. Why? Unconscious mind created a safety rule that says, in this situation, this can't happen, or this doesn't happen, or this is as far as you're allowed to go. Right? Now, let's say that you're in a romantic relationship. Things are going great, right? And then all of a sudden, maybe, God forbid, the person dies, gets stolen from you, just gets a transfer, something breaks up, all of a sudden, boom, that relationship's gone, and it hurts. It sucks, right? And you're like, okay, well, that was terrible, but I'm a grown-up. I can get through this. And you do. You go through that grieving process, that when you put yourself back together and you start dating and reaching out, and you find somebody else who just seems to be the real deal, right? And all of a sudden, 5-6 months into that relationship, boom, it's gone again. And the pain is there, and the loss is there, and the unconscious mind is going, oh my God, this almost killed him or her. How do I protect them from this in the future? I know. If this person never has another relationship like this, they can never have their heart broken again, and they're safe. Unconscious mind flips a switch, and now they've found Mr. or Mrs. Right, and they can't move past friendship. They can't move past the first or second date. Why? The unconscious mind says, I have to protect them from pain. And if they can't experience the pleasure, they can never have the pain. And it creates a safety rule. So one of the things that we teach you in Identity by Design and Personality Transformation is that everything that human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's either a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Okay? And at the beginning of today's webinar, I told you that the way you guys remember at the beginning of the webinar? How many of you, just by show of hands, were actually at the beginning of this webinar? Type in, I was there, so I know. A lot of people raising hands, right? I told you that the way human beings navigate the vibrational universe is through their kinesthetics, their feelings. And so you have different levels of feeling. Well, every recording that you have in your mind, remember, we are not the way we are because of what happened to us. We are the way we are because of the way we recorded what happened to us and how we've been relating to those recordings. And so when we start to relate to those recordings, the body generates a feeling connected to that file. That file has a location in our body. But there's also a vibrational matrix out here that is projected from your neurology. It's done from your cardiac nervous system, your mirror neurons, and your cranium. Okay? We call that the proprioceptive grid. If there was such a thing as psychic abilities, a sixth sense, if you will, it would be your proprioceptive neurology, but it wouldn't be your sixth sense, per se. It would be your 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th senses. Okay? So we teach you how to put things together in a very powerful way, but there's a body feeling and a grid location out here, and that's exactly what I had you do. I had you point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it. Right? Just the act of pointing and reaching creates multiple pathways to the same information in your holographic nervous system. You get more on-ramps, but it creates a synergy between all the different divisions of your nervous system. You don't need to know all that for it to work. That's why we did it first. Right? You don't need to know how the car is built in order to drive it. Right? And so that's the first thing I did. I wanted to show you this idea. Point where you feel it, reach out and touch it. But of all the techniques, the one that tends to have the most impact with all the other techniques is this magic frame process. Why is that? Because when we create safety lessons, it doesn't matter how good our intentions are. It doesn't matter how good our technique is. If your unconscious mind decided that it was safer for you to keep that shit then get rid of it and risk having it happen again, it will choose to keep it. Do you understand that? Now, the metaphor I like to use when we create, let me show you my conception of what a memory looks like from a holographic standpoint. Let me see if I can find it really quick. But before I do, let me go ahead and remind you that all this stuff is found in our vibrational influence courses, our personality transformation courses, and the Identity by Design course that you get the live free event to. So I just want to remind you, this is what we got going on right now. The Hidden Laws of Attraction Ultimate Manifestation Mastery Home Study course gives you the Hidden Laws of Attraction Home Study course, the $1,497 value. It's going to include the Vibrational Influence United Kingdom Special Edition. It's a $1,597 value that we're going to give you absolutely free. It builds on all the things that we're teaching you. We're going to give you the Vibrational Healing Home Study course, $1,997 value, absolutely free. We're going to give you Secrets of Personality Transformation, $2,497 value, absolutely free. We're going to give you the Hidden Laws of Attraction Soulmate Secrets Masterclass, $1,950 value, absolutely free. And of course, the three fast action bonuses that when I log off, they go away forever. Attraction Mastery 4 Days Super Intensive, $1,997 value, free. The NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program Group Trial and the 11-year video archive, $1,597 value, absolutely free. And of course, your free VIP ticket to Identity by Design Live, $2,250 value, all free. Total value is $15,382. You can get it all for one low investment of $997 or 3 easy payments of $397. And all you got to do to get yours is go to www.davidsnydernlp.com/HLOA. That's davidsnydernlp.com/HLOA. davidsnydernlp.com/Hidden Laws of Attraction. Click the link, click the link, click the link, get yours so I can continue to be your teacher and show you how all this stuff really works. Okay? So what happens is, let me see if I can find this holographic memory unit for you. This is my conception of what this thing looks like. And remember, this is again my conception. It doesn't have to be true, but functionally it works. So when you look at a memory, a thought, a daydream, something you want to manifest, right? All of our daydreams, memories, thoughts, feelings are built this way. You have a vibrational substance, like a DVD that's been encoded. You have 5 primary channels, just like a prism. And then within each of these primary channels, you have smaller distinctions or smaller attributes. Each of these functions like a computer command, and it creates the movie of the event. Now, this is a static picture. All these things look like they're just stationary and they're all pretty. It's more like soup in actuality because all these things are in motion. So, has anybody here ever made soup? Go ahead. Okay, we have a few, right? Has anybody here ever tried to unmake soup? No, right? Why? Because once the shit's in there, it's all mixed up. You ain't getting it out, right? And this is this is the problem that we have once our neurology has created one of these containers. All that stuff is in there. And most of it is releasable. That makes any kind of sense, provided it's safe to do so. But floating in that soup are the safety rules that your nervous system created and embedded in that program that says, if you let this go, it might happen again. So with this particular process, we can reach into the soup, pull out exactly what needs to be kept, and do it in a way that the nervous system recognizes it's being preserved and moved. The moment the nervous system recognizes that the lessons have been saved, it's willing to let everything else go. You follow me? That's what we did. When we pointed to where we felt it, reached out and touched it, we connected all the divisions of our vibrational and physical nervous system. When we took our magic finger and wrote the lessons on the whited out screen, you started processing things through your kinesthetic cortex. The energy started going out, the emotional charges were being vented. At the same time, you were preserving the lessons. And then what did you do? You shrunk it down, you moved it behind you. Right? What happened when you moved it behind you? What happened to the feelings when they moved behind you? Type it in the chat. What happened? Right? Now, what's interesting about that is I didn't tell you to make it go away. Right? What you did was this. Let me show you. You literally took information that was in the front of your system. It was in your forward hemisphere. This part of your energy field. And anything in this field, your neurology, anything in this field, your neurology classified as open, active, and running. Okay? The moment it passes the boundary of the spine and starts to move this way, your neurology starts to classify it as closed, over, and complete. In other words, it's done. How many of you, when I asked what happened when you moved it behind you, suddenly realized it was in the past? It was over. It was done. It was a neurological phenomenon, right? And the further back you moved it, the less it impacted you. True, not true? True, not true? This is the interactive part of tonight's training. True, not true? Right? Did I tell you that that would happen, or did you just experience it before I told you that we'd already mapped it over with thousands of people from all over the world? Right? Again, experience, guys and gals. Experience is the shit. It's the thing that absolutely moves the meat forward. Okay? Just experienced it, right? The moment it went back is the moment it changed. Yes. Now, here's something that also probably happened to you that you didn't know I would know about. Not when I'm betting that for the vast majority of you, there's exceptions to every rule. Okay, that the vast majority of it, when you move that behind you, you had a spontaneous epiphany about it. All of a sudden, how you thought about the event, the lessons connected to it, dramatically changed. You had a spontaneous reframe or insight of the experience. True or not true? Type that in the chat for me. True or not true? I gotta look at that. Yep, thank you. Yep, beautiful. Okay? Again, this is just the tip of a very, very large iceberg, guys and gals. Okay? There is literal and metaphorical magic. You are magic incarnate. The problem is that nobody's given us a map that we can readily understand that links all of the different systems of our neurology vibrationally and physically together. Okay? I was either lucky or, well, I consider myself lucky anyway, to have great teachers who could point me in the direction and give me some solid gold nuggets that created, for me, a system of personal development and empowerment that has literally allowed me and my students, and a lot of them are in these chats with you and on this webinar, to rewrite the whole direction of their lives. Right? There is nothing wrong with you, my friends. There's nothing. You are not broken. You can have everything you want. But first, and this was a lesson that I learned from one of my female mentors, a woman named Taylor Sinclair, and it stuck with me for all these years, and I found it to be true. You can be or do or have anything in this life that you want, as long as you're first willing to become the person for whom that thing can happen to. And that's what brings us a lot of times in conflict with the law of attraction as we understand it. I think I've cataloged at least 13 reasons why the law of attraction may fail, right? And obviously we don't have time to go through those today, but you can cover them in laws of attraction. We can cover a few of them if you want, but are we clear with how the magic frame technique works? You point to where you feel it, you reach out and touch it, you trace the outline of it with both of your hands, you make sure it's the right one, you put a big black frame around it, you blacken out or whiten out the image, you write the lessons on the screen, so you can keep all those lessons, let everything else go. You shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp, you notice how the feelings in your body shift and change as it moves past over your head and back into the past, where it slips down below the horizon and it gets nailed back there. Right? Easy peasy? Lemon squeezy? Now, you can do this for things on a 1 to 10 scale of 1, or you can do them on a 10. I recommend, if you're going to do self-work, that you engage in a process we call bucket listing. Bucket listing is a way of reorganizing your traumas and your shit so that you deal with the lowest level stuff first, you get super good at the technique, and then you move progressively through all the stuff that's the most problematic and most traumatic. That is not the way we instinctively or intuitively are taught to deal with our stuff. We are very much taught to run towards the biggest, nastiest, most painful thing in our lives first. And that's why we fail. Because your unconscious mind sorts for what's familiar, which is usually what it's done the longest and the strongest, right? I call it a Bambi versus Godzilla scenario, right? Hold on a second. We've got some people in the YouTube chat. Same Like You says, thank you, Dr. David. You always be the best teacher in this field. You bridge and unite the whole knowledge both science and magical. I hope God will make you a light for this world. Well, thank you. That's very kind. But I'm just a guy in a vest who learned a couple of things and wants to spread that light. Right? I learned the hard way that when God gives you something, you're expected to do something with it. You have the keys to transforming your life and the lives of countless others. What will you do with it? Will you keep it to yourself? Hoard it? And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But when you take what you have, you go out into the world and you share it, what you have grows. Okay. What other questions? Let's see what questions other people have. Helmet says, just purchased. Thank you, Helmet. Welcome to the family in that non-culty kind of way. Sandy says, you made some great investments in yourself. Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm very invested. Very, very cute. Very cute. I like that one. In fact, we have we have member levels in Planet David where if you come in at like a platinum level or higher, we actually give you a vest to say that they're invested. It is fun. We have a lot of fun. I got to be honest. The people I've met through Planet David have been the absolute coolest people on the planet. And they are the most cherishing, giving, supportive group. I mean, I'm obviously biased, but don't believe me. When you come to Identity by Design, you'll meet these people and you'll be just blown away. I am every day. I'm so grateful every moment of every day to be part of this amazing planet. And I want you to be too. Whether, at whatever level you can do. If all you can do is our free videos, do our free videos, right? If you can afford to do the package and just upgrade yourself big time. If it's somewhere in between where you just can buy one home study course or something like that, then that's what you do, right? I'm going to put stuff out at every level for as long as I'm walking this planet. And you decide when you're ready to go to the next level, right? I don't decide that, you do. You have to decide you're worth it, right? And while we're on that note, as is my tradition, let's go ahead and remember when I log out today, these fast action bonuses are going to go away. So what again, the Hidden Laws of Attraction, Ultimate Manifestation, Mastery Home Study Course is the Hidden Laws of Attraction Home Study Course, obviously, $1,497 value. You're also going to get the Vibrational Influence United Kingdom Special Edition 5-day training with the bonus training and the bonus footage. $1,597 value, absolutely free. We're going to give you the Vibrational Healing Home Study Course valued at $1,997. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. Secrets of Personality Transformation, $2,497 value, absolutely free. Soulmate Secrets Masterclass, $1,950 value, absolutely free. Did I give Personality Transformation? $2,497 value, absolutely free. The NLP Power Mastermind Practice Group, Fast Action Bonus, $1,597. Thank you, Florence. God bless. Welcome aboard. Attraction Mastery 4-day intensive, $1,997 value, absolutely free. And finally, your live ticket event to the Identity by Design Las Vegas 4-day intensive, $2,250 value, absolutely free. Total package today is worth $15,382. You can get it all for one low installment of $997 or 3 easier installments of $397. So go ahead and go to www.davidsnydernlp.com/HLOA. That's davidsnydernlp.com/HLOA. Finally, one more time, davidsnydernlp.com/HLOA. Now, if you're calling Stephanie, I promise you, she will return your call within the next 24 hours, religiously. Make sure, if you're calling, you leave your contact information so you qualify for the bonuses. If you don't leave your information and you call back, you won't qualify for the fast action bonuses. It won't happen. Okay? So if you know you want everything, if you know you want to spend time with me live in Las Vegas, if you want to spend time with me in the mastermind, please click that link now, click it now, or call and get your name in so that if you have questions, you're at least qualified for it, right? Yes, there is a local group in Southern California, and my intention over the next 6 to 8 weeks is I'm starting my martial arts masterminds, or my martial arts meetups this Saturday, I'm doing my first Eskrima meetup. After that, we'll be rolling out probably a meetup every couple of weeks until we're back to a full schedule in a way that fits my training schedule and my online classes and things that we do. So I see now that people need to get out of the house. They need to find safe places to meet with people. And so I'm bringing it out of mothballs. So we can get together and do the things that make us better people and find really cool people who like to do cool stuff. So that being said, going back to this technique now, here's the thing I want you to understand. It does not matter. It does not matter if you're using this technique for a physical pain or an emotional pain. The nervous system doesn't care. When you're dealing with physical pain, sometimes what happens is, and here's how you diagnose this, by the way. Here's how you know you need to use this technique. If you, like say you're going to spin something, like you point where you feel it, and you take it out, and on a scale of 0 to 10, it's like a 9. And you do an intervention, like color breathing or spinning, and it drops from like an 8 or 9 to a 6 or 7. You do it again, it drops to a 5 or 6. You do it again, it drops to a 5 or 3. At some point, it might go all the way to 0, and then if it suddenly starts to come back a little bit, you've got a safety lesson in place. If you move it down incrementally from an 8 or 9, and then you hit like a 2, and it won't go any further, you've got a safety lesson on your hands. Okay? You need to point to where you feel it and reach out and touch it. But many times, just the act of magic framing it causes it to go away completely. Okay? It's really cool. So Dana's saying, it would really help if someone can go over how long it takes to go over the program sold today, please. That really depends on you. Each class is about 30 hours of content. So, yeah, they're not small classes. And there's manuals and there's a lot. That's why we packaged the mastermind and the live event right along with it. Because once you've had the live event, you can blast through all the other stuff super quick, right? Well, again, I would rather be doing this, teaching than just about anything else in the world, which pisses my wife off sometimes. But this is what I was born to do, and I will continue to do it until they come get me with a net, or shoot me, or I shuffle off this mortal coil, or ascend to the next level of vibrational reality. Right? We talk about Golden Path. This is part of mine. Right? And you'll learn about that also. We'll talk a lot about Golden Path in the home study course as well. And actually in Identity by Design, we'll talk about it. Dana says, you're easy and pleasant to follow. Thanks, David. Thank you. Right? My job wouldn't be very worthwhile if it weren't for people like you. So let me tell, I have time for like 1 or 2 more questions or demonstrations or techniques or whatever. So tell me what you guys want to go with. While I have you. Looking forward to Vegas though. Can we get that separately? Can you get it? Yes. If you reach out, you won't get the webinar package, but you can buy a ticket to Las Vegas separately. Absolutely. Laura says, I'm grateful for your following your Golden Path, Dr. David. Well, thank you. I'm grateful too. One of the things you'll find out about Planet David is it's not something you choose. It's something that chooses you. And by the way, you can tell if you're what we call a human angel. Any recommendations for ADHD? Spinning, color breathing, magic frame. That's where I would start. Touch the tip of your nose. You feel a little indentation on the tip of your nose. That's what my teacher Lillian Bridges used to call a human angel marking. You're destined to come here and fulfill a very powerful spiritual mission, which usually involves some kind of healing. How can I use magic frame on asthma? Okay, when you're doing some of these techniques on chronic conditions, you have to ask your neurology a separate question. Okay, so in Identity by Design, personality transformation, you're going to learn about some body-centered energy psychotherapy. And it's all about how we use the body to influence the mind and so forth. I don't have time to go through it all here, but there is a distinction that you make. Like for example, if I'm doing a spinning technique, right, I point where I feel it, Notice the color, take it out, notice if the color changed or stay the same. Notice which direction it's spinning, make it the opposite, spin it the other way, put it back in. Okay, that's the basic spinning technique. If you go to instant emergency pain relief, you'll get a good primer on how to do that, as well as breathing techniques and stuff like that. But what happens many times is if somebody's got a chronic condition, like once upon a time, I was at in 2013, I think it was, no, 2012. I was in a training with Richard Bandler. It was during an intermission, and a gentleman came up to me and he says, James C2 says you can cure my cancer. And I'm like, James C2 says what? He goes, James C2 says you can cure my cancer. And I got this download, right? First of all, I got to understand something. I'm in the middle of a hotel, in the lobby, during a 15-minute break. Some perfect stranger comes up to me and says, so-and-so says you can cure my cancer. And I got the second big download for the spinning technique. And I said, point to where you feel it. That's going to be how you start every single technique you learn from me, pretty much. Point to where you feel it. He points. I said, that's not the problem. He looks at me like I'm crazy. He goes, what do you mean that's not the problem? I said, that's the symptom. There's a reason that tumor is there. And there's a feeling connected to that reason. Point to where the feeling connected to that reason lives in your body. He points to his heart. Now, he had prostate cancer, so you know where he pointed the first time, right? He points to his heart. I said, close your eyes and look at that feeling. He goes like this. I go, notice there's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color, first impression? He goes, it is red. I go, excellent. Reach in, grab all that red energy, take it out and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes that shit hides. He reaches in, he takes it out. I said, now look at it. And he looks at it. And I go, did the color change or stay the same? First impression. He goes, it's the same. I said, notice it's moving. It's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? He goes, this way. I go, grab it with both of your hands. Make it the opposite of what it was. Now double the spin in the opposite direction. Double the speed. Double the force. Double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. He spins it and he spins it and he spins it, and then he slams it into his chest. The minute he slams it into his chest, I clap my hands over top of his hands. He bounces like I just shocked him with 2,000 volts or whatever, right? And he starts twitching. He breaks out in a sweat. He turns beet red. His eyes roll back in his head, and I just hold him there for about a good minute or so. And then at some point, the program unpacks, and his whole body just goes. And in that moment, his whole personality changed. He stopped being angry. He looked at me, and he went, oh! And I went, bye! Primarily because my seminar was starting and I had to get back in there, right? 2 or 3 weeks later, I get this little package in the mail. And I open it up, and there's an envelope with a letter in it, and this little stuffed toy dog. And I open the letter, and it says, thank you. You changed my life. I can't exactly remember what, but this is for your daughter to say thank you for what you did for me in Orlando. And I'm like, and there's this bunch of numbers in the letter, and I don't know what these numbers are, what they mean. So I called one of my students, Zach, who was studying to be a surgical technician. His mother was a OR nurse or critical care nurse or something. I said, this is before I got my doctorate and I knew how to read this shit. And I said, this guy sent me these numbers. What do they mean? She goes, oh, they're tumor markers. His tumor has shrunk by 50%. Okay. I've seen the spinning technique do things that are just patently impossible. We have a lot of it on video from people doing shit, right? Let's see what we got here. So Kim said, how can I remove the control someone's abusive has over me and my subconscious? I've left the relationship and moved on, but still seek out approval from others. Okay, that's going to take either identity by design or regression. We have people who can do that. But start with identity by design, Kim. Go through that process and then see what's left. And then get either Holly or Seth or Bernie or Karen or some of our more advanced people to go through the other cleanups with you. But start with identity by design and personality transformation. You're going to learn 3 basic techniques in that everything kind of comes from. It's called the transformational triad. You're welcome, Kim. Yeah. I got all kinds of stories, guys. I could just tell story after story after story after story. Would spinning work for rashes? I know it would, because it has. Will it work every single time? I can never predict that. I've had people, I'll tell you one more story. Back when I was seeing clients, and I had to stop seeing clients, by the way, because I had a waiting list 6 months long and it was getting longer, and my training schedule was blowing up. Yes. Let me finish what I was saying. The reason I told you the Gus story, the tumor story, is because when you're asking about chronic conditions, the disease is never the problem. It's the symptom. And so you have to ask a slightly different question. So if I got someone who just injured their leg or twisted their elbow or broke their leg or kidney stones or something like that, I'll just have them point to where they feel it and spin it out. But if it's somebody who's manifesting a chronic illness, you have to remember the chronic illness is never the problem. The chronic illness is always the symptom. So there's a reason that particular ailment is there, and there's a feeling connected to that reason. And that's what you have to go after. When you're going after, hold on a second, let me redo my auto zoom just screwed up. Hold on a second. Autofocus. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Sometimes my software running my camera gets glitchy. So when you're dealing with chronic illness, you have to go after the root cause. And you can do that by just changing the quality of the question that you ask. So in your vibrational, it'll be actually in all 4 of your courses. It'll be in personality transformation, it'll be in vibrational healing, it'll be in identity by design. To some degree, it will be in vibrational influence. There's this thing we call body-centered energy psychotherapy, right? And a concept or a mechanism in your neurology we call a somatic search engine. The quality of the information you get from your autonomic nervous system is directly related to how you've asked the question, right? I'm not going to go too deep into that. You can, again, when you get your program, when you come to Identity by Design, you're going to get deep level training, like military grade training in this shit. There was nothing you won't, I promise you, I challenge you, come to Identity by Design. You will be able to do this shit anytime, anywhere, under any circumstance, for any reason. It's called real world hypnosis for a reason. It makes you unstoppable. Right? But when you're dealing with chronic illness, you have to go for the root cause. When it's something that's acute, something that's just happened, you can just point to, and a lot of times you can just point to where you feel it and zap it anyway. And it doesn't really matter if it's a fear. We've cured phobia, air flying, like debilitating, crippling airplane phobias in 90 seconds. 90 seconds, boom, done, gone. We cured it so much he forgot he was ever afraid. Right? It's crazy, right? We've taken fear of math tests into love of math tests. You can take this. Not only can you eliminate stuff. Remember all those good feelings we had at the beginning of today's webinar? You can spin it and amplify it off the charts. Right? If you guys want to see, well, if you guys see the erotic hypnosis stuff, you'll see me using this for erotic. Yeah, you can do it for anything, George. Anything. If you can point to where you feel it, you can change it. The only thing I can't predict is how long it'll take and to what degree. But I haven't seen anything yet. Even if the person you're doing it with doesn't actually believe it'll work, it'll still work. Right? That's what's cool about it. You don't need to believe it. You just got to do it. We spend a lot of time taking these principles and these techniques, distilling them down to as purely a mechanical process as humanly possible. So we sanitize the belief out of it. Now, certain beliefs will make your shit better, but it still works. So Dan says, how to point for, hold on, SMTG. pretend you know. We'll talk again. You'll learn all about this in Identity by Design, in personality transformation. The system, the part of you that controls all the things we're playing with, is the same part of you that plays pretend. So even if you don't know exactly where it is, if you pretend that you know where it is and you point to it, it'll be right. I can't make this shit up. I could make this shit up, but I don't have to. Right? It really is the most user-friendly system of personal. I got to write a book. I mean, I usually do videos because they're easier, but I know I need to write a book. But anyway, so yeah, make a list. Here's what I want you to do now. When you leave this webinar, after you've gotten your package and gotten all that squared away, I want you to sit down and I want you to write all the things you want to change, like, by category, like fears, grief, loss, anger. Just categorize them, all the things you're angry about, and then organize them from most intense, and then flip the list. And then I want you to take your magic frame technique that you learned. If you know the spinning technique, you can use that. And I want you to start with everything that has a 1 to 3 level. I want you to spin 3 of those things away, or magic frame them away. And then find a few more things at that level and just get rid of them. And then move on to the 4s. And then move on to the 5s. And then move on to the 6. And in every 2 or 3 levels, just go back over it a few times. And by the time you hit the 8s, 9s, and 10s, you won't notice any difference in the level of difficulty between the 1s and the 3s and the 5s and the 8s and the 9s. It's called bucket listing. You'll learn about it in depth in Identity by Design and Personality Transformation, because Personality Transformation is all about doing this work on yourself, by yourself. Identity by Design is about doing this work on yourself, for yourself, but also to help other people professionally. So if you want to have an extra business or things like that, Identity by Design is perfect for that. Tracy says, can you help others dealing with more severe mental illness like schizophrenia with any of these practices? I'm gonna give you a qualified yes, but it's done strictly on a case. There are some people that they can't focus their attention and follow instructions well enough to do the drills. Everything I teach, except for the covert influence stuff, presupposes someone who's at least able and willing to follow instructions. If the person's able and willing to follow the instructions, you have a high probability of success. If they have a very short attention span or very confused, disorganized thinking, and they can't follow your stuff, you're going to have to do something else first to get them to be able to focus and follow. But in terms of doing client work, that's really the only caveat. Does that make sense? I hope that it's understandable. Again, I don't try to make claims, but man, don't believe me, just go do this shit on people or with people, and you'll be amazed. I could tell you story after story after story, right? There was one more story I was going to tell. I can't remember what it was, though. Anyway. All right, so that's about all we have time for. So again, for those of you who are on the fence, remember that everything that we're doing and everything we're teaching about is in your course and more. Also, remember the 60-day money-back guarantee. If for some reason these things aren't working the way we've telling you they are, and by the way, we've under-promoted what these things can do, but don't believe me, test it. 60-day, risk-free, and you get all the cool stuff. Okay, so once again, just to reiterate, Hidden Laws of Attraction, Ultimate Manifestation Mastery Home Study Course, $1,497 value, but you also get all these free extra bonuses. Vibrational Influence United Kingdom, $1,597 value, years free. Vibrational Healing Home Study Course, $1,997 value, years free. Secrets of Personality Transformation, $2,497 value, free. Soulmate Secrets Masterclass, $1,950 value, years free. Attraction Mastery, 4-day intensive, $1,997 value, absolutely free. 3-month trial membership to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, plus the 11-year video archive, $1,597 value, yours absolutely free. And of course, your free live in-person 4-day crash course, Identity by Design, live in Las Vegas, August 1st through the 4th, $2,250 value. And remember, if you can't make the Vegas event, let Stephanie know. We'll move you to the next Identity by Design training. It's free, and you have it until you use it. Total value, $15,382. Yours for one low installment, an investment of $997 in yourself. Or you can break that up into 3 easy installments of $397. And all you need to do is click the link, click the link, click the link. It's that time. Shitter get off the pot, as my dad used to say. DavidSnyderNLP.com/hidden laws of attraction. Hidden laws at DavidSnyderNLP.com, hidden laws of attraction. DavidSnyderNLP.com, hidden laws of attraction /HLOA. Click the link, click the link, click the link before it's too late. All right, my friends. In the immortal words of Carol Burnett, one of my favorite funny ladies of all time, I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just got started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. Good night. God bless. Click the link. Join Planet David. Meet me in Las Vegas. Meet me online. And let's make your world everything you want it to be. Good night, and God bless.